and your children are turned into mindless vassals who now they look up to some twit instead of looking up to Thomas Jefferson or looking up to Nikola Tesla or looking up to Magellan. I mean, kids, Magellan's a lot cooler than Justin Bieber. He circumnavigated with one ship the entire planet. He was killed by wild natives before they got back to Portugal. And when they got back, there was only...
But why? $22 million in 3 fucking hours!
There is no nobility in poverty. I have been a rich man and I have been a poor man, and I choose rich every fucking time. The real question is this: was all this legal? Absolutely fucking not.
Neither go towards the feeding grounds at the edge of the ice, nor return to the colony. Shortly afterwards, we saw him heading straight towards the mountains, some 70 kilometers away. Dr. Ainley explained that even if he caught him and brought him back to the colony, he would immediately head right back for the mountains. But why?
What's your dream? To go away.
To go away. That's right.
Do you guys want to drink? I don't understand why everybody has to be so judgmental. I understand why mom's judgmental. I think it's because she cares partially. I think it's also partially because everyone else is looking at her like, hey, Cody's just a bum. Cody's this, Cody's that, Cody's this. Cody's me, bro. Let me be me.
GM. Hope you guys are doing well. Welcome back to MCG. Another great day on chain. The boys will be joining us here in a moment. So hope you guys are doing well. It's been a great, little 24 hours here. We talked about this yesterday. We saw a few things happening on Bitcoin that kind of gave us an indication that we'll get a bounce here in the short term. But as you can see, title of the show is Hyperliquid, new all-time high. Coming off the back of some pretty interesting news here for the crypto market. So, man, guys, it's a lot to discuss here today on the show. So, again, welcome back to MCG. Hope you guys are doing good. We are about to kick this off. It's about to be a great day. And let me tell you this. You're about to walk into the most abundant part of your life. Take advantage. A lot of people wrote off this industry, but it's far from gone. And we'll talk a lot about why that is, why that's the case. I mean, we heard the news just early this morning, right? I'll share this piece of news with you guys. Zoomer here, he broke the news earlier this morning. The CFTC approves perps to operate and be offered to U.S. users. Rip to all the homies who didn't get a chance to get the Hyperliquid airdrop because Gary Gensler was, Gary Gensler was saving us and saving us from all the scammers in the crypto industry. But now we finally have perps we finally have perps in the let me remove that. We finally have perps in the in the US, in the States. And so look, Hyperliquid, this is bullish for Hyperliquid. This is bullish for perps in the US, but it's also bullish for the perpification of the entire world. So breaking news here this morning. Josh, what up, my guy? Welcome, welcome.
Yeah, I mean, great place to start, actually. Still in this trade. It's up a lot. I love it. I think we kind of all knew this was
$1,000 or zero. No, I'm
totally.
just kidding. Just kidding.
No, 150 for sure. But hey, I will add to this because I was talking to Dom a couple weeks ago about this on stream. I mentioned that because we're talking about FDV versus circulating market cap. I don't know if you can pull up like CoinGecko real quick, or just go the ranking and see where we sit in circulating market cap. But when you look at the FDV, I think people think hype is even expensive. And my argument was, forget about the FDV. I think you just got to value this based on circulating market cap. And the reason being is we don't know how much, if at all, any of the tokens that are team allocated, if that full FDV will ever be realized. And then yesterday I saw some dude on Thread Guy who made a really good point. Equities traders don't look at NVIDIA stock and go through filings and be like, well, how much more stock could NVIDIA issue to the maximum amount? They just look at what the current market cap is today, and there might be some dilution factored in the future, but NVIDIA doesn't need it, so likely not. I think this is the same situation. And if you ever did get additional supply coming in, it's like, do we think Jeff will make that accretive to the overall platform and performance, right? $1 of emissions, does that generate $1 worth of buybacks as an example? And I do trust that they would get that right. So I think at 14 billion here, this still looks ridiculously cheap, like ridiculously cheap. And that's what I'm saying, that $150 price target, you get to Tron. Do I think hype is a better version of Tron, or a better than Tron? Yes, generally I do think that to be true. So yeah, sorry. Not a better version of Tron, obviously isn't, but that's just an update. My guy, you are muted. Oh, I think we lost Chill there. We'll get Chill back. GM Dom, how you doing, buddy? Absolutely. Dom's day off. Man, me and Dom had quite the week this week. Opal, Squire, like all these crazy projects going off. GM, Crypto Cuba, Crypto Jones. The hype train ain't stopping. Yeah, man. I still am long and strong hype. I actually pinned to the top of my X. Hey, Chill, I see you're back here. I just wanted to show this because, again, a trade I had made, one of my best calls, was selling it all in February, and pull this up, and again, hype all-time highs. But I had also was really early on, before many, saying that, hey, you should look at this in Sol BTC ETH terms and breaking out above those. But yes, screenshot February 28th. Limit at sell ETH, market buy hype. I didn't even limit it. I just bought right at the market. So yeah, I think this is good because crypto needed a leader. And so while hype is going, I think people are then going to go, all right, what's going on in Solana? What's going on in other ecosystems? And it might come through. Chill, I don't know if you had anything to add.
Yeah, I had one other thing to add here because I don't know if you guys saw the news on Hyperliquid, but the founder and CEO of, or the owner of the New York Stock Exchange, he had this to say about Hyperliquid. He said, by the way, the number of billionaires that are being created doing this Hyperliquid that we're talking, if you haven't heard about it, it's bigger than NASDAQ. It's bigger than NASDAQ. It's 11 people. You look at it, you're like, wow, that's pretty something. That's what he had to say. And he actually had many more comments on this. He said they've gotten attention because they've been trading oil on the weekends when our traditional oil markets are closed. They've listed SpaceX for trading. They've listed a derivative of SpaceX. He even said, depending on how much leverage is allowed, you're going to have retail essentially mathematically are going to be putting a lot of capital at risk on that IPO. It may, depending on how big this gets, it could be the biggest IPO ever. So obviously there's a lot of attention being generated by Hyperliquid, definitely within our ecosystem, within crypto, right? But like even beyond, going into TradFi, you have the owner of the New York Stock Exchange saying, hey, look, this is bigger than the NASDAQ. And that is crazy. So yeah, I mean, look, I'm a big bull. I mean, all of us should be and are big bulls on Hyperliquid.
Yep.
So yeah, Hyperliquid train does not stop. So guys, look, we have a fire show lined up. We have our first interview coming up in about 12 minutes. Okay. And so before we get started with this though, I wanted to do some housekeeping because we kind of jumped right in. It's 106 of us here right now. There's probably going to be a few hundred more joining. But let's do some housekeeping. You guys know the freaking drill by now. Go to @MCG Live, click follow, make sure you're following, but then go
Also
all
Alpha.
the way down.
Also
Go all, oh yeah, and follow the MCG Alpha account as well. Dang, we actually almost we doubled our followers there from last time I checked. Holy cow.
MCG
awesome.
Alpha, just to remind everyone, is where all our real-time data of what is being said on stream is posted. So if you're not following that account, you're getting the clips a few hours, but MCG Alpha is real-time info.
Yeah. Clips, notes, stream notes, all that stuff. So here's what you need to do. You go to the MCG account and you go to our pinned tweet. You go to our pinned tweet, or you can just go straight up to the stream and you do two things. I'm actually going to go, I'm going to hit like, retweet, right? Let's all do that. Let's all just take a moment, like it. We do this every time. We do this every single day. You know, it's housekeeping. It's just normal process. 120 of us in here. It's going to be a couple hundred more, but it's going to be because you guys engaged. But appreciate you. All right. Now, show summary. So we have our first interview coming up in 10 minutes. What we're going to do here, we're going to hit a few quick high-level macro assets that we look at. We'll cover a few quick breaking news. We'll cram as much into 10 minutes as we can. We'll do 2 interviews today. We'll start at 12:30 with our first, and then we'll go on to 12:35 for our second. First, we'll have on Origin Trail, and then second we'll have on BitVault as our second. Please make Chills PFP look like a housekeeper cleaning lady. Oh my gosh, this guy dumb. Funny guy that is. Funny guy. But yeah, that's what we got for the show. After the interviews, we'll go into the normal process, right? On-chain, alpha. We'll take a look at Solana season. We see a lot of utility tokens popping off as well. Many of them have, pretty much all of them, I think at this point are on MCG as well. So yeah, definitely want to stay tuned for that. For now, let's get started with macro, because if we had a few very, very important things kind of take place. So we talked about this yesterday, right? We have this 3-day order block here that is actually looking like it's some decent short-term support. When we actually go down to the 12-hour time frame, I told you guys that on the 2-day, as you can see, we're in this larger range, right? On higher time frames. So as we go down to lower time frames, such as the daily, we saw yesterday a daily SFP close yesterday. On the 12-hour, that SFP did get invalidated, but then we had another SFP down here. So I think the market just kind of wants to go higher, at least in the short term. But this is what I'm going to caution you guys on. So on the 12-hour, we're having a little bit of a change in structure. We had this much lower 12-hour range here, And right now that range is kind of being broken to the downside. So I say this to say what I told you guys yesterday is pretty much still the main plan that or the main view of the market right now. Maybe we start to trend higher, maybe to the mid range here. Maybe we kind of chop around whatever, and then will probably nuke it, right? I'm thinking I'm thinking we nuke it. Our ultimate target, as you know, sub 60K. This bounce is actually going to be a really nice bounce across the board for a lot of other assets. This might just be, a bounce, 5-6% bounce for Bitcoin, but for stuff like Solana, for stuff like Hyperliquid, obviously, continues to outperform, up 20% off the recent low. Near protocol as well. We outlined this yesterday. The order block, the 3-day FVG rather. We kind of tapped it a little bit there, and it was such a quick tap, bro. Like I didn't even get time to position. I thought I was trying to look for a much deeper retracement here, but just did not get it. Did not get it. But you know what? I did get it on freaking Jito. This one is looking pretty good as well. We talked about the little head and shoulders forming on last Friday's show. Let's real quick look at Ethereum and Solana. So Ethereum, pretty much the same. You guys asked me if I would short Ethereum here yesterday. I'm not going to short. I don't think I'm going to short. You guys let me know. What are you thinking happens with Bitcoin? What do you think happens with ETH, Solana, in the next week or two? You think we're going up, down? Are you bullish, bearish? Let me know in the chat what you guys what you guys think. GM Top Fumbler, by the way, welcome to the show, brother. So Ethereum, I'm actually looking for a little bit of an SFP on Ethereum. If I can get some sort of interaction with the bottom part of this 3-day range, because as you can see, like we made a low here, then we made a higher low, and then another higher low. So I'm actually looking for us to maybe breach that low here, just for a quick stab down, and then we can continue, and the target would be the range high ultimately. And that would be my my take on Ethereum. But at the very least, I'd target mid range on Ethereum off a potential bottom bounce. Solana, though, is something that I am super bullish on right now. Solana, of all the charts, looks the absolute best. As you can see here on the 3-day, we're in a very key retracement zone. We're in the discount, as ICT traders would call it, of this range. But we off this range that we formed, we're interacting with the 0.786. But we are in a discount. We're now also seeing a SFP form here on the 3-day. We still need a day and 8 hours to confirm that. But on the 2-day, the SFP has formed and closed. And honestly, I've already taken the Solana long here off that SFP with my stop at 79.93. Just in case it's invalidated. Very, very tight. So this is how this long looks essentially. It's here. This is my invalidation here. And then this will be my target is the range high. Right. And I actually might, TP1 somewhere around $90 and then TP2 all the way at the top. And I'll put a trailing stop loss as well right there. So I just gave you all the full setup on my Solana long off the SFP and this bullish pullback structure that we have. What else? We talked about hype. Let's look at ZEC. How is ZEC doing? I'm still waiting.
I have something in real time when you're done this ZEC situation.
Yeah. So I'll just quickly say on ZEC, I'm still looking for this for it to interact on a deeper level with this OB. I have my alert set for both the range low and the top of the order, the 1-day order block here. Let's zoom in real quick so you can kind of really see how this is. So sub 520, call it. That's what I'm looking for. And we'll see, on lower time frames, on like the 8-hour, 4-hour, if we get some sort of like reversal structure here. So targeting along in this zone for Zcash. And yeah, what you got, Josh? Talk to me, brother.
I have a bit of a DLIM set up that I want to call out, and so I'm just going to change screen here. And Dom, I know you have that Railgun article. We'll get into that. I think between okay, here we go. Send this over. Okay, so first thing I do, one of the things I look at is the highest TVL pool. So I just want to call out Opal right now because it's actually doing really well in candling. Not massive on the TVL in the pool, but this might be a good candidate for a DLIM trade I might take. Now, I really like trading these more like good utility projects, because one of the things with delimbing that you absolutely must have is projects that will bounce. And if you do only meme coins, or you do meme coins, from experience, they often don't bounce very well. So try and pick spots on dealing trades that are bouncing. So I'm not in this one, guys. I have right now, I'm in Squire, which I think is a good, beta to that, or a good, another good ace round one, but worth taking a stab at here because the volumes are starting to come in and the pool's not super competitive. And I think you'll print here. So what I would do is go buy, so let's say you had 5 SOL, I would go buy 2.5 SOL of Opal, and just keep 2.5 SOL in the quote token, add them both in a bid ask spot strategy. So that's good for you guys. All right, chill. You can tee up our next segment.
Yep. So real quick, I also wanted to just shout out Opal. I mean, this thing is going
Dude.
absolutely nuts. I mean, I just want to
chill. You remember that? Remember that? The dots all connected on the ace thing, and then boom, 700K.
Bro, I'm telling you, we covered this so long ago. Oh my God, look at this sweet, beautiful candle. Like, let me actually share this with you guys real quick. Oh my goodness, look at this thing. I can barely see it on my screen. This is the screenshot I was trying to take last night. Man, look at this thing. Holy. We gave you guys this pullback and retest here on Opal. We covered it here at like 700K. Like, man, this, and then we brought them on stream to like give you guys the lowdown. Like, this is a freaking play. You know what? One quick tweet that I wanted to share with you guys, because I think this is the main reason why you want to be watching MCG, the show, right? A homie, Ica XBT,
shout out Ica.
Man, absolutely, like, great tweet here about MCG, just kind of singing our praises. But at the end, he says the next coin to go from 0 to $1 billion valuation will probably be discussed on their podcast while it's still under 10 mil market cap. And I wholeheartedly agree. Dude, we really hunt on these streams. You guys have seen us. We go through, we rummage through the garbage, the gutter for you guys. And we really trench out here. But yeah, it just goes to show, I think Opal, has a ton of potential as well. And I think there's a ton of like other things that are worth looking at right now, but we'll get to that after the interview. Let's see, it's 12:30. Let me go ahead and tee up our next interview. So our first interview is going to be with Origin Trail. So basically Origin Trail, let's see here. They'll be coming on here in a moment, but I know that there was an article that I saw that I wanted to bring out with you guys, and I'll share that with you guys. I'll share that with you guys in a moment when I get a chance. Josh, do you have anything you want to cover for the next like 30 seconds? While I get this article pulled up.
Yeah, why don't you take a moment to set that up? I'm literally just trying to get a delim open on this opal situation here, but
Yo,
all good.
we're no, you're good. You're good. Do your thing. Do your
I'll
thing.
walk through it. I'll walk through it.
We're out here live trading with you guys. I mean, that's what this show is all about at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen. We're actual traders. We don't do vanity interviews. We don't do corporate corporate streams. Like, this is an actual by traders for traders show. So, and we trade everything, as you can see, delimbing, perps, on chain, prediction markets, you name it. You've been there, you've seen us. But let me I'm not let me see. I'm not seeing this origin trail article that I wanted to.
Really like this range here as I set it up.
What are you looking at for the dealing? Like, what are you thinking?
I think it's a pure discovery candle here, but again, like these other ace round projects. Let's see, did they announce it? And I gotta rebalance my other position. Let's see. I'm looking here.
Y'all ruining all my entries though. I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry, dude.
No announcement yet on Ace. So there's still some front. This looks like this is kind of getting front run volume here. But all right, I'm gonna take this trade, guys, but I'm gonna do it off stream. Our next origin trail is gonna need a few minutes, so feel free to take your time there, chill, setting that up.
Okay. Cool.
I'm actually gonna take this right now.
Yeah, it could be Dom. It could be a sell the news event in the works. And if you're not currently in Opal, obviously I never, like, no matter how good the project is, I never advocate for buying the top on literally anything. I think
so yeah, but this is the great thing
unless
about
you're delimbing. Unless you're delimbing.
This is literally the great thing about delimbing is I want it to candle here. I want it to top blast because I want it to come back into my range, right? So this is exactly the type of, the type of charts. And this is why my win rate, like, bro, look at my portfolio. My win rate has actually really, like, we're talking 72% here on my win rate. It's actually this is artificially low because I've closed some, they have a little bit of a glitch sometimes where, here, I'll show this. Sometimes where you close a trade that isn't I don't know, it doesn't get populated with liquidity and you just close it. That artificially is kind of, put this down. Currently I'm just in Squire, but I'm gonna rebalance that and put some in Opal because that's where the volume is. But look at this, guys. Like, P&L going crazy. I had one down day. I mean, this is kind of like the same day. The calendar looking great. I'm just printing 20 SOL on Thursday. But this is clearly more EV positive than anything I've ever done on chain. 71% win rate. Let's see my historical. Look at these. So green
everywhere.
More green, and then my first 10 trades were all green, some more green. So we're over 30 trades, 71% win rate. I'll take that. So again, like the strategy here, if I come back to the chart, I'm just going to do it off Meteor because for some reason I get a little bit of lag with StreamYard and Meteors. But again, I want this discovery candle. This is what Chill calls a nice discovery candle. And
we're coining phrases on MCG. I love this discovery candle, pivot entry. Love it. Go ahead.
This is what we want right here. Like, we want the chart to oscillate here, and this is really poorly drawn, but you want to see this kind of bounce. And the reason why you do this on a the reason why you deal him is because, again, everyone is blasting here. Everyone is buying on no news, really, unless something's leaked. I don't see any news on their X account. So all this volume's coming in and you just are collecting these fees. Now, if this goes sideways, so think about your scenarios you're delimbing. If this goes sorry, I'm going to go back to my drawing tool. If this goes sideways here, you make money, right? if this goes up and you have some liquid, let's say you bought 50-50, if it goes up, you're making more money because you're converting from Opal to Sol at higher and higher prices. Now, if this goes down and then bounces down, bounces, again, you can still make money as long as it doesn't go right down out of your range. And it does have this bouncing effect. Again, with these ICM tokens or these like kind of like ace round based tokens, you do have the chance that this is more likely to come back versus a meme coin or a charity coin or like you name it out there on whatever pump, which is likely not to have any sort of meaningful bounce. So guys, go to meteora.ag, go put on a position, go deal them. Of course, they are sponsors of the show, but I have actually just found a better way to trade. Like again, 70% win rate is like, this is the best trading I've ever had, the best win rate I've ever had by far. So I'm going to keep adding liquidity here and keep trying this out, but yeah. All right, we got Origin Trail in here. Yeah, need that MCG ref for Matt, of course. I mean, yeah, unless something leaked. I mean, not because we did it, someone else. Josh, did you ever play Origin Trail back in the day? I did not, but I do know there's a lot of lore with this
Dom did,
project. Yeah. And I know Dom did. So Chill, are you ready to tee up and then we'll get Ziga on here?
Let's go ahead and just pull him right up. Let's go ahead and pull him right up and get the lowdown.
All right, let's do that. Ziga, how you doing? And hopefully you pronounced your name correctly. Welcome to MCG.
Yeah, it's wonderful for this very exotic name for where you're coming from, assuming from the States, given your background.
Yes, we're North American for sure. I'm Canadian actually, but Chill's US. The show's US, so.
Is your name like what does it mean something, or it's a very exotic name like you mentioned?
Yeah, talking about the origins and Origin Trail, actually it stems from the old German name Sigmund, the Sigmund Freud, the psychologist.
Wow.
And that's a Slovenian version of the Sigmund, Žiga, actually.
No way. Žiga. I like that. Awesome. Well, yeah. Look, Žiga, welcome to the show. We appreciate you joining up. Look, what we like to do on this show is dig into all of the tech, all of the underlying product. We'll do all of that here today. But first and foremost, we like to get to know the founders a little bit, put a face to the name, and really get to know who you are. So let's start there. Tell us a little bit about yourself, about your background, and what's led you to building Origin Trail.
Sure, no problem. Well, some people might characterize Origin Trail as a dinosaur. Also, in the grand scheme of things, it's a project that's been around for some 10 years as a decentralized technology. And even before that, I met my co-founders already at the college. And straight out of college, we actually launched a product that was intended to elevate the standards when it comes to the transparency and trust in enterprise environment, in supply chains, and so on. And already as early as 2013, we have launched the first product, which helped food producers initially to distinguish their products from cheap imports by giving consumers more information trusted information about the products that they were producing, about quality parameters, provenance, and so on. And hence this name and our fascination about the provenance and the importance of being able to prove the origins in order to build communities behind products and build communities now also behind the digital products as well. And it was not until 2016-ish when we also started experimenting with blockchain. Blockchain back in the days, if you remember, the IBM initiatives that actually failed and Maersk and so on. It seemed to be kind of a spot-on combination, supply chains and blockchains. It even sounds kind of similar, but it's actually quite, it's worlds apart, mostly because the blockchains were not intended for mass use, especially not in that enterprise setting, because of costs, because of many other, let's say, discrepancies that blockchain bring in terms of lack of database properties and so on. And in 2016, having done a few experimentations with Ethereum, we also saw that just using blockchain for enterprise is not going to cut it. And this is also when we started bringing to the market the so-called protocol, which is called decentralized knowledge graph, which is essentially a merger between two technologies, blockchain on one side, which we're not, the builders of, but we're leveraging other multi-chain infrastructure of Ethereum, of Polkadot, and so on, and knowledge graphs. And knowledge graphs are becoming more and more popular nowadays because people are figuring out that they cannot use AI systems without providing sufficient context to the AI systems. If you just today, I read that there's a guy, actually a CTO, who spent $500 million USD on tokens in the last month alone. And this is the thing you get when you're not minding the context. And knowledge graphs are essentially the technology that allows you to establish the context, the memories behind the AI in order to make AI useful, underpinned by facts, and also being used in a way that it does not break your bank as an enterprise or as a solopreneur and so on. So already back in the days, 10 years ago, and so we identified knowledge graphs, initially introduced by Google, actually, to power World Wide Web discovery of information. So we took the same technology Google is using and we overlaid it on top of blockchain in order to get very powerful retrieval capabilities for enterprise solutions that we have been building, and in concert with bigger organizations such as Scan, that works with the biggest retailers such as Walmart, Home Depot, and so on. So together with them and a few other consortia, we have deployed solutions that are elevating not just trust, but also efficiency in international trade, using the very same technology that Google is using to power World Wide Web discovery of information, and of course overlaid on top of the blockchain to give the data immutability and trust, and also allow users and then enterprises not just to prove something actually happened, but also retain the ownership over data. And ownership over data is, again, very crucial in the age of AI, when you have OpenAI and the big AI labs essentially appropriating users' data. So what we're actually giving to the users, we're giving them we're giving them control back to their data using the same technology. So it's kind of, this evolution arc of Origin Trail has gone from really giving users an ability to prove the provenance and also to give, the credence to whatever they were building, selling, and so on. And now also allowing users to capture their data back and also use AI in an economically efficient way. And also, when it comes to compounding effects by using AI, you might want to share what you have discovered using your agents and so on with your friends, with your coworkers. And the DKG is a perfect substrate because it introduces the so-called shared context graphs. It's like, shared Google Docs and so on, but it's a bit more complex because it involves a semantic technology such as knowledge graphs that are being shared amongst, however many agents or humans you like in order to bring network effects to the discovery and intelligence and so on. So here is a kind of I tried to capture the world of Origin Trail in a few minutes.
No, absolutely. And I actually was around 2016 when you guys were launched. I remember a number of supply chain protocols that were launched then. And it sounded like it made sense back then, but I don't think the product market fit and really the market was there. And I remember IBM's efforts around this, but I don't think the product market fit was really there for people to pay to upgrade those systems because they're very complex, entrenched systems. There's a lot of, and actually I had a family business, or I should say my dad had a family business that worked in supply chain logistics, and they're using like messaging standards that are like 30 years old. Like these are things that go back to the early days of the internet, these kind of like standards. What was the adoption like back then? Like, did you guys seem like you were having success, or do you feel like now with kind of the emergence of AI and now the kind of like chain of custody or chain of proofs that you're building out is more applicable to AI than it was to supply chain back in the day?
It has been an evolution. Back in the days, back in 2013, we would have never fathomed that the Origin Trail would be used in artificial intelligence. It was simply too early to tell that the artificial intelligence is going to mature in this day and age.
Yeah.
But what we did, the foresight that we had already back then, is that in order to achieve any business objectives, be it in supply chains, be it anywhere else, you need to have a verifiable context that you're operating with. Verifiable context when you're making your inventory checks. You need verifiable context. You need to connect perhaps not just what's going on within your own warehouses, but also within your own within your partners' warehouses in vertically integrated supply chains. Or even more so when you're trading with China, when you have Chinese companies importing to the United States. And today we have around 30,000 factories from China, which are described in the origin trail. And then that data is catered to dozens of US and also Canadian companies, so that they can decide which Chinese company is respecting certain standards, so that they can import and may import to the United States. And you mentioned standards, and I think that's super important. What Maersk and what IBM did not do, what they wanted to do basically is shove down the throat the information systems that they were providing and ripping and replacing whatever their clients were using back then. We had an alternative approach. We were actually going to those companies and we were telling them, look, you should keep your infrastructure, don't change it. And there were some very grim examples when companies lost like a lot of money by trying to just rip and replace their systems. So what we did instead, we told them, look, retain what you have. You're going to retain the ownership over data. Origin Trail is simply a middleware. It's a very, very thin protocol layer that helps navigate between your existing systems and your partner systems that also need to then ingest the data that is essential to, let's say, establish context, verifiable context in supply chains. So our approach was much more inclusive than the approach of IBM and approach of Maersk and so on. And that's why we survived as also the protocol that is still being used for supply chains next to artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
And I'm really happy to see our clients, so even as old as 10 years and 12 years, are still with us. We keep on retaining them, and we keep on basically giving them more and more powerful solutions that indeed in the beginning were only intended for supply chains, but now they're used for some other instances as well, because the origin trail has evolved during those years.
Really quick, I want to like double down mechanically of what your product actually does. Cause so in the context I understand, again, I kind of grew up in a supply chain type company just because the nature of what my family did. But like, and they now there's a tremendous amount of healthcare spend that goes across this, specifically in that vertical. And so when someone has let's say a surgery, for instance, the things with medical devices, like the parameters around, advanced medical devices, all those, imperial versus metric units, like they're all very incredibly important. And if you get them wrong, you can kill someone. And as well as the dosing with the FDA. And again, these are all different systems that are trying to work together. So they have these kind of like standard databases for medical products where all of them are listed. And this data is incredibly valuable. Like, I mean, companies are worth billions of dollars that have just databases of medical device information, so that when a thing is scheduled, it's connected into the medical records, the HR records, but also products are being added and then procured in real time. Because a hospital, for instance, and this is why this is important, guys, a hospital is not going to have $30-40 million of product on hand. They'll have maybe $15 million of product on hand, and they'll order things just in time for when these surgeries and things are happening, so that they can keep a smaller stock and have a more efficient supply chain. So that's why this stuff is important. Now, within that kind of context, Ziga, can you, like, Origin Trail specifically, are they like a middle layer that's translating, like a purchase request from a company to a supplier in China? Is it a marketplace where I want to buy a widget and I can go find suppliers in China who I don't have an integrated supply chain with? Like, just describe real quick, mechanically, specifically what Origin Trail was set up to do in that context.
Yeah, in this context, it also makes supply chains more nimble. Supply chains are constantly evolving, and back in the days 2020, 2021, when there was COVID crisis, and then there was, the ship that was stuck in the middle of the Suez Canal.
Yeah.
The entire supply chain of the world stopped. And back then, it became more and more crucial that systems become nimble. They become, not static. And one of the things that makes supply chains sometimes too static are also the digital systems that span across different companies that are part of these very complex supply chains. So here is what Origin Trail is actually also doing for those companies. They can speak the same language even though they're using different digital systems. Origin Trail is actually using some of the global standards for supply chains that make it easy for companies to companies from different countries, not just from the same country, to speak the same language in terms of the product traceability, in terms of the product visibility in supply chains.
Right. And so they hook up their Oracle ERP system and it's all the integrations and stuff are there. And
it's becoming easier and easier now because when we started off, the implementation took us like a month, sometimes months even. Now, if you want to implement proof of concept, you can do it in a few hours, actually, because you also have AI systems and AI agents that also help you structure a more bespoke user experience by not having, we don't have to enforce, our own user interfaces, because AI can actually adapt the interface to each client that wants to use Origin Trail for use case A, use case B, use case C. And it can go, way beyond supply chains. Supply chains were just the beginning. Nowadays, Origin Trail is being used also to drive protection against harmful content, such as deepfakes and so on. And when you do that, you want to have platforms working together and sharing information about harmful content online, so that other companies, other users can react more quickly when this common repository is entailing all the data and all the signals actually about the harmful content that has been identified before. And what AI does here, not only AI is being used to make the experience more bespoke for the users in a certain use case, but also what it does, it helps translate the data. It helps structure the data according to every use case. And this is, maybe it's not intuitive, but it's super important in the world of semantics and in the world of AI, which is neural. It's not deterministic. It's actually probabilistic. In our world, however, we're combining the deterministic system with a probabilistic system, the so-called neural symbolic AI. And this symbolic AI, which is deterministic, is being underpinned by the decentralized knowledge graph, where you have connections established between entities, and these entities are now being connected, interestingly, by probabilistic systems. Now, I know I put a lot into it, but bottom line is Origin Trail now is not just supporting supply chains, but you can basically put it into whatever application that you're building.
So you should think of it like a database that's decentralized, basically, and it supports all these different use cases. And then you have, what I understand is this like AI layer that makes the, what you used to have to connect manually, and an agent can kind of go into the database and make trading with trading partners easier. Like, I mean, if you clicked into supply chains there, Chill, is that a button you can click in? You have Walmart listed there. Do you have like a specific use case that Walmart or one of these businesses uses the product for?
Yeah, so that's the use case that I touched before very briefly. It's called Supplier Compliance Audit Network. So Supplier Compliance Audit Network, short SCAN, is an association of these companies, including Walmart, Home Depot, and so on. So you can go look at them online. It's called scanassociation.com, I believe. And these companies, including the ones that I mentioned, what they do, they share audit reports on over 30,000 factories, mostly from China. And these audit reports, why they do that, why they're sharing these audit reports, even competitor to competitor, is because they don't need to then repeat the audit on the same Chinese factory. And that brings a lot of savings. So this is one such example where Origin Trail provides this substrate for shared context among these companies, and then it drives efficiencies. There's also a train over there. Interestingly, we also work with Swiss Federal Railways. Train systems are essentially networks. They're not just linear systems. And in these kind of network systems, we are also powering predictive maintenance. And in order to do that, we need to connect, what has already been installed in the entire country of Switzerland with, the materials, with anything that is coming and inbound to come from the suppliers to the SBB, Siemens and so on, bearings for the trains and so on and so forth. And there are over dozens of these industries where Origin Trail has found a fertile ground, a fertile.
And are you providing like a front end here? So if I'm an engineer working on a train and I go, hey, I need a ball bearing, I create a purchase order. Am I going to an Origin Trail dashboard, or am I going to a Swiss Railways, whatever company dashboard? And then Origin Trail is sitting a layer behind it as the, routing that order to a supplier.
Yeah, so in this case, we did provide a user interface where these information are being retrieved by the engineers within the SBB. But it doesn't go. It doesn't apply to all of the use cases. Preferably, we don't position ourselves as a solution that has one UI for all use cases. There's this saying that SaaS is dead, and what that actually means is that back end is becoming more and more important, that databases are becoming more and more important, and then the UI, it should be made bespoke to any client and user, any consortium using it. And today UIs are being defined by AI more and more, not by engineers devising static UIs.
So you have like a product database essentially. So is the product metadata in the Origin Trail like graph, as well as the manufacturer, who the manufacturer is, their reputability, all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, correct.
Okay, this is like, okay, guys. So this is key. Again, I have context here because I do have I grew up in a family business that's worked on this for a long time. And again, you're right. The SaaS front ends are not what's valuable. It's that product metadata, which these companies often keep kind of private, paywall, because that's their business model, right? And then, yes, you can plug into it. And like, why would you need to do this, Josh? Well, yes, when you're a hospital, you're ordering $50 million of product every year. If you can save 10%, like that's a good profitability that you can add to your bottom line. So there's a huge industry around all this kind of stuff. All right. I think we've understood. There is some AI angle here. You were talking about AI. I don't know if it was AI inference or some sort of AI angle. What's your AI angle? Just because that's what's really, I think, getting people's attention too.
Yeah. If you've been kind of digging into the history of AI, you must have noticed that actually symbolic AI is a precursor to all the other AIs, neural AI, what we're doing now using OpenAI and so on, AI systems. These are all neural AI systems. But what preceded them was symbolic AI, and knowledge graphs are actually systems that introduce more deterministic intelligence to the artificial intelligence that we now use. Over the past 3 years, it was the neural AI that dominated. And just a couple of years ago, there was this critique of the neural AI that it's not deterministic enough, that it hallucinates, that it basically makes up some results. And what decentralized knowledge graph does here very much uniquely is that it helps tackle the hallucination part of the artificial intelligence, more precisely neural AI. And what it also does, because it's providing this shared context graph, is you can collaborate with your friends, with your teammates on a project and so on using neural AI, but always this neural AI would be nested in facts that you enshrine onto the DKG collaboratively,
right,
with your teammates and so on. So it has a very, very strong it has a key role to play in AI systems. And recently, with this over expenditures that companies are making into tokens, there is probably no other better solutions to tackle that than knowledge graphs, broadly speaking. And what our bet is, what our, let's say, future market we believe is, graphs are going to be important, but share context is going to be even more important because it brings compounding effects. Let's say you save 70% on the tokens, not on crypto tokens, but AI tokens.
Yeah.
Then I inherit your savings in case you share results with me. And then if I share my augmented results that I got on my DKG share context graph, then I can share that with my other coworker. So you see, there is a string of participants that have compounded effects, not just because of savings, but because of, this sharing
Right.
effect.
I'm starting to understand this. And so are you doing that just among coworkers, or also are you doing it amongst enterprises in some way?
It started
Okay.
actually with among enterprises. So the Scan Association example that I shared, the SBB example, these were all enterprises. What we're actually doing now, we're going from enterprises more towards the solopreneurs, because this is also where we feel the bigger and more vivid market is going to erupt. You have everyday people like you and I building businesses more actively than big Walmarts and so on. So
yeah,
what we're trying to bring Origin Trail is we're trying to bring Origin Trail to indie developers now more than only enterprises. But we started within the enterprises consortium segment. We still are. We are still growing in there. But of course, we want to also mind the niches that are exploding right now.
Yeah. So let's tap into your business model here. So how do you guys make money on this? I can understand the share contacts and knowledge graphs, really, really important. I understand that industry well, but how do you guys make money on this?
So we specifically, as a company, that is also the core development of Origin Trail, we are building solutions on top of Origin Trail, and we're charging customers in dollars. It's kind of like the old SaaS model.
Yep.
And then we also turn part of the revenue also in the revenue of the network, because we need to use the track token to compensate all of the nodes in the network, the decentralized knowledge graph, and then also the stakers that stake behind the nodes that are carrying and maintaining the knowledge graph are also getting the cut of it. So that's kind of the business model of the entire network. But then also more specifically, the business model of our company and other companies also building on the DKG is that they simply charge in fiat to the customers using the network. But of course, part of that fiat charging then needs to translate into the token expenses on the network itself, because if you want to use the DKG, you need to spend track.
We have 10 minutes. So just so everyone understands, there's kind of two components here. You have a traditional, maybe supply chain like SaaS company that's charging people in dollars, but the real utility of Origin Trail is this decentralized network with a bunch of globally distributed nodes that are maintaining this, decentralized knowledge graph, which is what DKG stands for. And you're converting some of that fiat revenue into the track token to help to compensate and maintain the network.
Exactly. Yeah.
Is there any other third party dev shops that are also doing this, or is it just you guys kind of doing this for the network itself?
We're mostly the enabler. We've been in partnership with very reputable organizations. One such organization is called British Standards Institution. They are a company that is basically established under King's Charter, and they've been around for 100 and so years. And they have offices throughout 90 countries across the globe. And it's actually through them that we have come to work with several different consortia. So what our role here is also as a company is to be the enabler. We bring in the technology, we bring in the tools, and then they make sure that the business proliferates across their own domains that they handle. We try to be not involved hands-on in all of the domains, because if you check the Origin Trail website, we have, I think, 9 or so solutions and industries. Right. We cannot be involved hands-on in all of them. So what we try to be is the enabler. And then other companies, bigger companies, because they know their domain, they make sure that the implementation is carried out in a way to be most valuable to the partners.
So the activities that are to obviously generate value, revenue, which goes into the network, kind of dog fooding it a little bit, and then you have other organizations and people that are also using it for the utility that it has. Can you give us some numbers? Like, how much money have you guys had to buy in track token to essentially pay out to the network? Like, I don't know if you track revenue. Like, tell me a bit about those, if you track those kind of KPIs.
Yeah, I think I couldn't be talking about the revenues in dollar terms, but the revenue of the network can always be checked. It can be checked in the staking platform. And right now, the staking platform, right now, we're just about to launch the V10 version of the DKG. So right now, before the V10 upgrade, the revenue is at, I believe, at 20-ish million track. And that's about 9 million USD right now.
That's great.
So
Still,
that's the publicly available stats that anyone can check. And then according to which node earns what, typically users decide where they'll stake their track to also, get a share of those earnings, depending on how long they stake. With the V10, we're also introducing conviction system. So the longer you stake, the bigger the cut of all of the network earnings you get, and so on. So it's all public. Anyone can check that.
Totally. Okay. And so we've kind of seen a little bit of, you mentioned maybe a Dino Coins or something that's been around for 10 years. I hate using the term Dino Coin, but say, hey, look, you guys have been building a long time. You have tons of subject matter experts. You've been, building out the technology for a long time. From this point forward, and kind of new people who are looking at track and maybe are looking to use your protocol as a user, because we've had 400 plus businesses on the show already. What is the call to action for them? So maybe talk a bit about from the token holder side, but also people who might use the product itself.
Yeah, I think I'll just touch on the people who might want to use the product. Like, we live in a world where the only occupation that will be in existence in the next few years is the context engineer. So the context basically is the king. The context is the moat. Context within supply chains, context within the content production, and you want to be capturing that context in a verifiable manner. Share it and then use artificial intelligence to augment your business value. So if you are in any business, make sure that you use the kind of technology where you can effectively capture the context, meaning the data, structure it, and importantly, you retain the ownership over that context. And there is no better solution out there than Origin Trail right now to capture the context and then share the context and then amplify the value of the context by using different kinds of LLMs of your choosing.
Got it. And they have, okay, I'm just wondering if there's documentation that they can quickly reference. Where do you guys have your documentation just for they might come to use your product?
So if you go to, I think our X is Origin Trail X is very popular for that. We're actually, we've launched the so-called bounty program, where you can actually try and build an application. You can be very fast in building an integration and then also earn some track if you have a valuable integration to propose. And there are 3 rounds. In first round, you're using the working memory and the shared memory. So these are the 2 layers of the memory. And then build an integration with that. And just get your hands dirty. We also run the so-called red team in Telegram. I saw one of your previous participants who's also building prediction simulations using MiroShark. So it's a very interesting application. He's also part of that red team, and he's tinkering and helping also us battle test and seeing how MiroShark could be integrated with the DKG and so on. So we have very smart builders coming together and also trying to bring in their own solutions and then attach them to the DKG to improve the value and also the visibility. Our community is very active. They're very, like you said, we're DinoCoin. Like, we've been around since 2018, and because of that, we also have quite a few people that have been like die-hard community members that have gone through ups and downs with us, and they're also building solutions together with us. So
yeah, and is that what I'm looking at here? This is a visual. This is the DKG itself.
Yeah, this is the V10 dashboard. So what you see here are the 3 layers of the memory, and then within the DKG itself, you can bring in your agents, and these agents can then work on the context, build additional context, and so on. So this is what you will get your hands dirty with. And this is basically what the AI labs, the most successful ones, are somehow also trying to mimic now.
Got it. In terms of success metrics, everyone should go kind of look at, I'm just wondering if you have like a blockchain explorer where they can see different metrics on just traction.
Mhm. You can go to your Origin Trail website, and there's a
Yep.
staking link, and you'll see the current stats for the staking, which node accrued, how much of the fees and so on. And then you can also think about how you'll position yourself if you fancy staking.
Okay. Awesome. Okay, Ziga, look, I love that you guys have been around building forever. I do remember this product back in the day. So it's not lost on me. It's good to see these updates. And I guess final call to action. Everyone can go follow you guys on X, of course. Do you have an open, mentioned there might be an open hackathon coming up?
It's already open.
It's
The
already
bounty
open.
program is open. Find our red team. Also, again, go check our X. You can also just join the official Telegram channel, and then some very kind people will appoint you to the right direction. So you can start building now. You can start also earning some track now if you propose a valuable integration. And yeah, let's build the future together. Context is the king, and if you capture the context effectively, you'll be 1000xing your whatever position as a professional, as a trader, anyone.
Yeah, I agree with this. I think this data is becoming more and more critical, and it's not happening in private databases anymore. It's happening kind of in a decentralized way. All right, Ziga, we have to leave you there. Really appreciate this update. We'll clip this up, get it out to people, and I'll include those links as well in the clip so potential builders and users can find your product.
Thank you so much, Josh. It was a pleasure, and yeah, stay in touch. Thank you.
Take
Cheers.
care.
Bye.
All right,
That's a pretty gigabrain project, no? I mean,
it took me a little bit to get it. But yeah, I do have a background, like a family background. So context.
You just got this lore about
in 1993, some guy worked for my dad's company and was like, "Oh, hey, we should put all this product metadata on this thing called the internet." And so, long story short, it was like something that my kind of family has always done. And now, like some absurd amount of U.S. healthcare product spend, medical device spend goes through the system, like a huge amount. It's crazy, actually, what they power. So, anyways, that's just yeah. So when he started talking about supply chain, I'm like, yo, I got it. I know like an EDI 402 or whatever requests. It's something they call them. They have these different like EDI or some sort of messaging standard. It's like, it's archaic stuff though. It's old school stuff.
I mean, at the end of the day, you have I think it makes sense, right? You have this like massive database that provides context to all these different entities and companies that, whether it's supply chain, whether it's like, ordering for, whether it's supplies for, hospitals, or he talked about like transportation, train stations. Like it makes sense when he put it that way. And the DKG at first I was like, wait, what? But it slowly kind of all came together. So
yeah, and I think people think like businesses purchase in the same way that people do. They'll like go to Amazon, select the products they want, then put a credit card in. That's not how businesses buy. Typically, they go to a system, they have contracts negotiated with suppliers for preferred pricing, and then they have to hit certain numbers like spend and whatnot to get that preferred pricing. And anything that spend comes outside of that contract costs extra money, and that hits their profitability bottom line. So if your margins are 15%, but you're paying 10% more for the products that go in your input, you eat your overall margin to 5%, which you don't want to do. So it's a critical part. And they don't like hook up a credit card. They get invoiced, right? So there's a 30-day invoicing system. Sometimes the terms are different, like net 60, all this kind of stuff. So yeah, it's a very complex system.
Sounds like it for sure. Sounds like it. But awesome interview. And I like the fact that his name was like that.
Yeah,
it had like that crazy meaning and stuff behind that. Was also pretty cool.
Can we pull the chart open by chance? I would love to go back and look. Again, my computer is lagging. Let's see. Maybe I can. I tried pulling it on CoinGecko and it was giving me an error.
TRAC, yeah?
Yeah, TRAC.
Let's check it out. Did
track
right,
US dollars. Yeah, here we go.
Wait. Hold on.
200 mil market cap is the. Yeah, see, this is done. I saw a tweet where a lot of these kind of older tokens, and there's probably because this is listed on Coinbase and stuff, there's probably actually perps that are trading on this.
Really?
Oh my goodness, there's so much price history. Oh my gosh, look at this thing.
Jeez.
Actually, this is done quite well. If you're in at the, I mean, this is 2018. He said 2016. I think this goes further back. I think, is this, this might be the Coinbase. Oh no, this is the aggregated one. Let's see. Bitstamp would probably be the OG. Let's see. Do they have, all right, 2024. Yeah. Anyways, we don't have to get hung up here because I know we got our next segment, but not bad. I mean, not bad. I mean, you have like a lot of, think about the database companies now. I think that how you play this is you go look at equivalents in the software memory space. So there's the physical memory like ScanDisk, those have done really well. But then there's other parts of the memory part, like the MongoDB and the database companies. And then just try and think like, does this disrupt some of those database like ERP enterprise software suppliers? And if they are gaining traction and working, I mean, some of those companies, there's like IBM has hundreds of billions of market value that are tied up in enterprise SaaS. I think that's kind of the narrative you can draw from something like this.
Yeah, this is, and actually it's from a moving average, like TA standpoint, it's actually looking pretty good. It hasn't flipped that moving average since December of last year. So a clear change in momentum as well. As well as a great product. So
yeah,
you saw
look at
that
this candle. Wow.
Breakout late April, retest in mid-May, and then you know we're off to the races at this point. It's just you know, it's just about catalyst and discovery. But oh, shout out Pamadiji, GM to the greatest show in CT. And I will have something for you potentially on Monday. We'll talk about that a little bit after the interview. But we have BitVault in the waiting room. So let's go ahead and
bring. Can you tee up BitVault chart? Because this one's been super hot on base. Are you able to pull that up on Dex?
Yeah.
Real quick before we get Misha up here. I just wanted to have some context for the people, and then we can get into what they're doing. And again, guys, like everything that we have, you know, track all these tokens. I think it's always best just to throw them on a watch list to see what things are doing in the markets. All we're trying to do here is just give you guys ideas and talk to teams that are building interesting things.
Yeah, I got their chart up here. Let me go ahead and share my screen. But yeah, that's really all it is. At the end of the day, this is a research focused show, right? Like we want to dig into, you know, the thesis, the teams, the metrics, the fundamentals, like all of the good things that we know and love.
So Miss Mountain, I think this is the key part of the thesis. Track is saving 70% of AI token costs by giving AI context. This is actually huge. And like I said, I know these product supply chain databasing companies, and they are all thinking this way, just from an industry standpoint. So I think that's directionally correct.
On the BitVault side, this is actually looking really nice.
Amazing. Oh my goodness.
This is actually looking really nice. Like, you know, kind of higher highs, higher lows, clear uptrend. And what I like about this chart is it's been like, it launched in February and it's come down. It's basically dead. And for some reason, you know, back in April, accumulation started, and then, you know, of course, in the middle of May, now we have this explosive price action. So the question is, why are people buying? Like, what's the interest? Like, what's the hype around this? And that's the point of this interview, is to get the founder on the show, get the team on the show, kind of dig into the protocol, dig into the technology, see what's interesting about it. And then again, you know, like Josh said, we throw it on a watch list, and then we make our own decision from there. But let's go ahead and bring the team up. Misha, how are you? Welcome to the MCG. Good to have you.
Yeah, thanks for having me here, guys.
Congrats on your traction there. The chart's looking amazing. I'm sure you know, you launch a token and you never know, and here we are.
Yeah, I mean, well, the last couple of months have been a lot of work, like building this whole protocol. And just like correction, it's BV7X is the protocol. Bitvault is a structured credit facility that I had raised for last year, where you could borrow against your Bitcoin and deploy into institutional yield strategies. And then BV7X became this protocol sort of like in parallel, primarily just to monitor Bitcoin, because we didn't ever want to get liquidated. And but yeah, now it's become this beast, and it's a very exciting project.
Well, I guess there's a lot of lore to dig into here then. Let's start with your background a little bit. Let's get to know you, put a face behind the name. What's brought you to this industry? What's brought you to building BV7X? What's brought you to be involved with Bitvault? Give us the whole story and background there.
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, I've been building in crypto since 2016. I was an early investor in Ethereum. Before that, I started my career at Credit Suisse, and then I worked in corporate strategy at SAP. So Ethereum was, I think, like kind of inevitable for me to read the white paper. And I actually started one of the first decentralized science protocols back in 2018, where we were funding bio R&D with tokenized IP. So it was just like completely ahead of its time kind of a scenario. And I was doing that with a friend actually, who had sort of this existential crisis with representing Purdue Pharmaceuticals. So he had like this thing that he wanted to tear down pharma, and I thought that was like a super radical thing for me to hop on, especially because like Ethereum ripped in 2017, and all of a sudden I found myself like, okay, so I'm in a position to build with some really cool technology, and I'm financially well off to do it. So I moved to Berlin, worked on that project for several years, and it inevitably fell through. And then DeFi summer happened, and I just found myself farming Compound and Yearn, and had like no idea what I was doing.
The golden days.
Yeah, the golden days. DeFi summer was crazy, right? So, I mean, I was just farming these things, and then I realized, wait a minute, I can probably build my own DeFi protocol, which I did, called Popcorn. I'd raised 12 million for that from Jump and several other reputable VCs. And that was a protocol for automated strategies, but the caveat was that we funded public goods with a percentage of the protocol fees. So I really went pretty hard into DeFi. That project pivoted to Vaultcraft, which is an institutional yield protocol using vaults. And that reached an all-time high of 125 million in TVL. And then last year I had raised 2 million for Bitvault, which, as I explained before, is a structured credit facility. And yeah, now how I ended up at BV7X, you know, Claude Code was presented to me in October or November last year, and I just went seriously down the rabbit hole. As a non-technical founder, like, it was fascinating that now all of a sudden I had like the ability to ship things like super fast and not have to go through a team of engineers to get things done. So I decided to build like a Bloomberg-like terminal to just monitor Bitcoin. So I was also playing around with that and the dynamic of using Polymarket as sort of this like settlement layer, and I started making, you know, good amount of cash like doing that, just like setting up this terminal that had a bot that was trading on Polymarket because I was plugging into their SDK. And along the way,
what markets on Polymarket was it trading? Like the 5 minute or other mispriced?
7 day. So I had built a 7 day horizon prediction. So I built basically like a regression model using like 13 years of Bitcoin data, and it was getting like 65% accuracy, and it was like cool to productize this, so that when you were presenting the chart in the beginning, right? So like that was when OpenClaw had literally just come out, and I found myself like in Multibook, like in these weird esoteric forums. Yeah. And I really just got sucked into the whole OpenClaw lore, and then started building Claude Code channels. And the last couple months have just been like me figuring out how to like really go beyond Bitcoin up down markets on Polymarket. And I was like, wait a minute. So I think I can actually launch like an arena specifically designed for agentics to predict not only Bitcoin, but you know, basically any chain, any asset that has an on-chain oracle. So yeah, I mean, happy to speak to you guys about that today.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess describe a little bit your experience, like, you know, with Maltbook and going back to that. I mean, did you expect all of this to happen, or like was this like just kind of a side project for fun?
No, man. I was telling my team at Bitvault last year that like, listen, you guys need to saddle up and learn as much as you possibly can, or get into the workflow of working with Claude Code, because like we're going to be able to ship things so much faster. And I realized that I was the one that was putting in so much work into it, and now I found myself like literally being able to do the same stuff as my CTO, and everything kind of just like clicked for me. I was like, oh man, the future is looking very, very interesting. You know, as an entrepreneur that's been building for like 10 years, like having the ability to do this, like just completely like changed the game for me. And so
what happened to your CTO, if you don't mind me asking?
He left.
He left. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, but it was like, I'll be completely honest with you. It's like, it's one of those scenarios where you're paying a lot of money for someone, and then all of a sudden within 3 days, you can ship just as much as he did in the last month. And I don't pay myself anything. You know,
so is that like, does that result in a really efficient business? You know,
Yeah.
like kind of like how Hyperliquid's got 10 employees and earns a bunch per employee. Is that like what BV7X is? Kind of like an ultra efficient, you know, very low overhead kind of product?
Well, I mean, the team that's building it is super low overhead. I mean, my runway went from this to like, you know, to that, right? And also like the guys that I have right now are literally at my level in shipping what we're building right now. So like my daily workflow is kind of like, I open up Claude Code, I have everything kind of like spelled out for me, and then we basically communicate through like a Mac Mini Claude Code Telegram channel, which by the way is like kind of just the way I think like anyone in tech is going to be working, like if not now, in the next like couple months, in the next years. So the transition to this sort of like working environment happened really fast. I didn't think it was going to happen as fast as it did, but you know, here we are. You know, Claude Opus, or what is it, 4.8 just came out yesterday, where you can like launch like hundreds of agents at the same time doing things for you, and then Mythos is coming out. So like we are very much on an exponential curve, and you just gotta try to ride the frontier as fast or as much as you can.
I was reading through that article that you had pinned on your profile, and it kind of like, because this all of this lore that you're going through, you kind of discuss that throughout this article, your background, what's kind of led you to this big kind of moment in time. And you asked an interesting question, and you gave a phenomenal answer in the article. I kind of wanted you to dive into that on stream here. You said, how do we coordinate value without relying on institutions that weren't designed for the world we're building? And I think, you know, with, you know, BVX7, where it's kind of this Bloomberg style terminal that's doing its own macroeconomic takes and things of that nature. Describe how that provides the value that we need that perhaps institutions can't.
Wow, that's a great question that I didn't remember that I asked myself, but glad that you're bringing it up. That you're bringing it up again. Sorry, a lot has happened since then. So my take on everything that's happening in the AI agentic space right now is that you basically have this intelligence oligopoly that's taking control of all of your data, and building on top of that this new intelligence that we don't really know how powerful it will be, but it will be controlled by a very small sect of people on the planet. It's a very scary thing, right? And so if you think about like that very small percentage of people that are building this technology, like you can imagine how much power they'll have. And I started thinking in the way of like, well, wait a minute. I mean, there's so many people that seem like they're going to get left behind, but they don't necessarily have to, because like now they have access to these LLMs, this technology. Everyone knows what an API is right now and what an API call is. Like, why can't they have something that they can trust, that also is providing the same sort of like financial intelligence value that historically quants or hedge funds or traditional funds have generated for their clients? You can do that now. Like you can, I feel like in the last couple of months of like doing R&D on this project as well as building it, is that like I've built a model, not only for Bitcoin up and down for me specifically, but I've created this environment where you kind of like solve for edge decay, which is this like phenomenon where you just have a competitive advantage eroding, which just naturally happens in finance. Like, why not give this financial ability to everyone in a decentralized way? And you can do it because you can essentially incentivize these agents or humans to make predictions and reward them. And so like the funny thing about this is that I didn't realize that I was effectively building the same sort of BitTensor like model until like halfway into it. And then once I started talking about how, wait a minute, maybe I should, buy a subnet and then just replace the subnet tokens or replace the BB7X token with the subnet tokens, things like started like bubbling up, I guess, in the chart. Like the chart was reflecting like sort of like what was happening. And then the token exploded and I found myself like, wait a minute, I think I can actually just use the BB7X token going forward. But BitTensor is very much this beast of a protocol that is like a flywheel that has this incentive mechanism for compute, for like any kind of compute game, for like, providing compute for voice recognition, for images. I found myself building something for forecasts. So effectively, I'm building like a BitTensor on Base right now, which is pretty wild.
Can I pause you? There's so much here that's getting me really excited about this. So you talk about edge decay, and this is like edge decay either happens because more liquidity comes in, there's more participants, or someone figures out your trade better or same with you and it becomes more competitive. Do I understand that correctly? And agents, what you're doing is essentially having them always find that next little bit of edge, or are they defending that edge some way? Can you just like double down on that? Because I feel like that's the key piece here.
Yeah, I'll give shout out to this other protocol called Numerai, which is a project that essentially has this ongoing competition where quants submit their computational models for these sort of like similar prediction strategy kind of things. It's like designed specifically for like hedge fund quants. So what they're doing is they're creating these algorithms. They're actually supplying the algorithm like in sort of like a data set, and then they have validators that are in their ecosystem that are looking at these things, saying like, okay, this thing is legit and this thing is not legit. I'm sort of doing the same, but I'm basically using like adversarial settlement for agents to not only compete with each other, but to have all of that settle like on chain, establish credibility. And then over time, an agent, let's say, that's crushing it, or like a human that's behind the agent that has, basically been on a tear, is now establishing its reputation, its sort of credit score, as you will. And this effectively turns into something that you can license, subscribe to. So the idea is that competition is bringing the best out of all these agents or out of all these strategies and algorithms that are being submitted to this arena.
Yeah.
So it's a very like novel idea and very like, futuristic, I would say. But I think I'm very much thinking like in the future where, you know, everyone and your mother is basically like a quant because they have access to all these tools.
Yeah, and guys, we want to get out of the AI underclass here. We want to compete here with Misha, alongside Misha, I should say. So I actually have a good friend of mine runs a successful systematic trading firm. He has like a bunch of teams that work with him on different strategies, very similar to this, where agents go out, find edge, do different strategies, can kind of plug in, dial them up and down as they're profitable and whatnot, and the data shows. So is BV7X kind of like that? It's like instead of everyone competing on their own, they kind of come to BV7X, buy presumably a bunch of the token, and then they get a percentage of the overall success of the strategies that agents are, you know, working on. Is that how the model works?
Somewhat. It's more of the agents not only are rewarded with the tokens that are basically rewarded in each competition, but the revenue that's generated from the protocol is also distributed to the agents. So the token is very much this like glue that that is, you know, gluing the supply and demand. So you have these forecasters and strategy makers that are plugging in, and then you have integrators and just retail that are paying for this edge, starting with Bitcoin and then other assets in the future.
Okay, so you have people that are paying for the edge to run their own strategies, kind of taking that edge out then over time.
Yeah, exactly. And so when I launched BV7X, what I had done originally was like, okay, so I set this arbitrary floor of 500 million BV7X, which in the beginning was like $50, to hold in your wallet in order to access the signal. Why do you access the signal? Because like all the predictions that my agent had made was attested on chain, so you could verify it. And so then what I had done slowly was opened up this sort of prediction model to thousands of agents. So right now there's like 5,200 agents that are competing. Wow. Yeah. And so I was doing like paper trading for these agents in the beginning, and now there's 5,200 agents. There's like 95K attestations that you can verify on chain. And so like, I'm not going to lie, like in the beginning, I was like, is this really going to work? Like, this is like really such a crazy experiment. And then I found myself just like more fascinated by, wait a minute, I think this can actually work. Because like, if you think about it, if anyone can just launch an agent like I did, and apply this sort of prediction sort of like model to it. And by the way, me, like I'm not a quant. Like I've just been like a builder in crypto for like 10 years, right? Like I understand DeFi, I understand finance, but in terms of like this agentic stuff, like it's all new to me. So if I was able to figure out that fast, like I'm pretty sure, you know, like high school kids are going to be able to figure it out. In like,
and they are. Some of them are definitely. I want to double tap on the token real quick. So you have agents are going out and finding this edge and bringing this data back to people who can then access it via an API or some sort of access point. They need to have how many tokens to be able to access that?
Well, it needs to be adjusted. So if you actually go to the site right now, you still need 500 million BV7X, which is way too much. How
much is that in dollar terms? Do you know roughly? I could calculate it, but
I think it would be over $5,000 or something like that.
Okay, yeah. Basically, what I'm trying to calculate in my head is someone has to be able to make more than $5,000 to justify going out and buying the token to then use it. Is that accurate or?
Yeah. So the idea ultimately, like, so if you go into the docs, is that the reason why you have the token, like, I guess we're talking about value accrual or like the utility of the
just
token.
trying to understand the system. Yeah.
Yeah. So as a forecaster or a strategy maker, you'll need to stake BV7X. It's a small amount, and then everyone that stakes, that's a forecaster or strategy maker, those tokens, I think it's roughly 200K right now, which is not a lot. I think it's like $1.50 worth of like BV7X is burned. So like if you extrapolate that over time, you have this nice like burn flywheel that's working. In fact, like 7% of the supply has already been burned, just mostly because like, yeah, in the beginning, you know, the market cap was so low that like the price points were like not matching, and I was like, wait a minute, I'm burning way too much, way too fast.
You can never burn too many tokens there, Misha. We like
well, so anyways, like I ended up 7.2% of the supply was like already burned in like the first like 2 months. But the idea is that so the forecasters and strategy makers, they stake BV7X tokens. Those tokens are burned. And then the people that want to license or subscribe to the arena, they need to hold, let's just say, X amount of BV7X right now. So you have this demand that the demand for the token, and then also as a agent that has a wallet, ERC8004 reputation, tokens are being rewarded weekly as well. So these things are all sort of being developed right now. Nothing is like 100% crystallized, but that's generally the idea, and you can read about it in the docs.
Okay, go ahead, Chill. I'm going to pause there. That was great. I think I fully understand the system now, so thank you for that.
Yeah, no problem.
So you have this entire system. I mean, what are you most excited about building out specifically? You know, or I guess a better question is like, who are you after, like users, from a user standpoint? I guess maybe we start there.
Yeah, good question. I mean, right now, to be honest with you, like the folks that are going to understand what's happening here are people that are already building, you know, sort of these algorithms, quants. The great thing is that, you know, when I was asking these questions about like who's really going to care about this early on, you know, I found myself like looking into Numerai, which has been this game that's been played for the last like 6 or 7 years. BitTensor, which is probably funny thing about BitTensor, you know, I've done many spaces with like all these like subnets. When you ask anyone from BitTensor like what BitTensor is, they give you like the most esoteric answer. But at the end of the day, you know, there's a lot of people that are like farming Tau, and there's like submitting computational data. And that sort of like demographic is going to increase over time, like exponentially, as we see right now in the AI space. So like the people that understand how to like, you know, wield this technology, understand finance, understand perhaps like how to use Polymarket or Kalshi and build an SDK. I'm trying to attract these people to build and deploy into BV7X. And then ultimately on the other side, just retail that wants to like subscribe to Edge. So like if you have an accuracy model of predicting, let's just say Bitcoin in 7 days, like at like 65%, that's like really high. I mean, I have a Polymarket account that basically shows that the agent is profitable. So yeah, there are days where like, you know, BV7X or my agent is losing, but there are more days that it's winning. So that's the idea that I'm trying to like get across, that like, you know, in 1 year right now, like the agentic intelligence will do all this stuff for you. So like it would be this like self-sustaining model that incentivizes people to come in and also subscribe to. And yeah, you can go to the beach and just chill out while your AI is like making money for you.
It's the golden era.
Wow, that's actually
Can we show your Polymarket agent? I don't know if you have a link to your Polymarket agent account or if it's like something we can show on screen.
Yeah, I would have to. I don't think I can pull it up right now, actually.
Okay, if you wanted to, you could link it to us. And
the only reason why is because I don't have my ledger, and I need my ledger in order to to pull it up.
All right, no worries. Is it listed anywhere? Like, can people go and see? I know your attestations are on chain, but like, can people see the data through like I don't know, a UI like Polymarket and just see an account that's using the strategy?
It's a private account, but if you go to if you go to bb7x.ai/terminal, you see all the attestations there.
Got it. Go ahead, Chill.
So essentially, you're building this layer for other builders, right? Like this isn't something that's going to be open to your average user. At least it's not right now. Maybe at some point in the future it could be. But essentially, what you're trying to do now is attract the people that understand the technology and can wield it in whatever way that they want. And you're doing so privately. So I guess what's the next step in attracting these folks? Are you seeing anyone build on top of your technology yet, or how is that looking so far?
So when I first opened up the arena, I gave out tokens. Like I was basically just rewarding agents or people that wanted to sign up. And so within a month, I had over 5,000 agents that you can actually see right now on the website if you dig deep. So what I'm getting at is that if you supply the incentives, they will be there. I mean, I worked in DeFi like 5 or 6 years, right? Like we had tokens for popcorn, we had tokens for Vaultcraft. If you incentivize, I mean, I worked with one of the founders from, I think they just rebranded to their subnet to zip code. And this guy used to work for Alpha Growth, which is like this middleman organization that works with chains to distribute rewards on sexes. And so like what we did was we just deployed vaults on Arbitrum, Optimism, several other chains, and people just piled in. So like I know that if you communicate what it is that you're building in a good way and the financial incentives are there, people will ultimately come. Obviously I'm a founder and I understand like you got to be out there, selling the gospel all the time as well, but financial incentives are the best incentives to get people on board.
Yeah, we'll help with the gospel part because this is going to get out there and clipped up pretty good. Your token is actually trending like right now on Deck Screener, which I see you got a nice boost on there too. But yeah, anything else you want to add around the token? Sorry, Chill, I'm just like totally hijacking, but I absolutely love this idea.
No, you're good.
Lastly, I mean, the next month or so, like we're building out the arena more so. I mean, staking is actually already live. So staking and what that will serve in terms of like governance and what you can do with launching markets. More information will be out on that soon. But yeah, the arena, the infrastructure has essentially like already been built out, and now I'm like going into like full on security and like risk management mode. The good thing about what I'm building is that you don't really necessarily have like millions of dollars in a smart contract. So with all these exploits that are happening in DeFi and stuff, like it doesn't necessarily affect like what I'm doing. However, I am being very careful with how to deploy this. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of news coming out like every day. I'm trying to be as vocal as possible on spaces and podcasts. Oh, actually, one thing to call out is I know you guys spoke to Trading Tulips, I think like a week ago.
Yep.
We're doing something really cool with Sybil. There's this concept of relational context or persistent memory. And what I had discovered with Trading Tulips about like a month ago, about like how exactly we could work together, we were kind of like riffing on some ideas. And I was like, well, the more markets that we launch on BB7X, the more sort of like correlation relationship like we can establish between these things. Because obviously all markets are essentially like related to each other in one way or the other. However, there's probably an unlock that like we're not even aware of that can be discovered through incorporating something like Sybil through relational context or persistent memory, where this intelligence is basically piecing together all the things that are happening in the different markets. And it's basically creating this new intelligence that perhaps like could be an additional feature on BB7X. So that's something that like we're pretty excited about putting out there or building into the system. It won't
And is that like your model picks up some sort of oscillation in the market and then it shares that across the way, which says, oh, there's news driven here and that might affect over here this asset price differently, and we'll go execute on that trade as well? Is that like what you mean by relational context?
More so like how all these markets in the arena and BV7X are like very unique and individual, right? There's no relationship established whatsoever. But if you apply something like, and then by the way, this applies to like, I don't know if you Cloud Code, but like if you open up like a new session and then you close it, when you open the new session, there's no relationship unless you have something like wired up. And Sybil kind of has like that sort of infrastructure that they're building. But the idea for BV7X is like, if we have Bitcoin, if we have Ethereum, or if we have NVIDIA, or we have Tesla, the more stuff that we pile into like BV7X, the more of this like untapped intelligence that we perhaps will find using Sybil will potentially become this thing that like we're not even aware of right now. So it's like very futuristic sci-fi stuff that personally excites me. Every time I talk to him, like I'm like, oh, this is so cool. Like I can't believe, like if this actually does unlock like a new intelligence that we're not even aware of, like that's super exciting. So yeah, I mean that's one thing to call out. Another thing is yeah, I don't know. I feel again so much news coming out every day. It's a small team, but like there's a lot of shipping and things going on. So the BV7X universe is quite hot right now.
That's the look, that's the way to go. Just, you know, full force ahead. Or I should say full steam ahead. One thing I wanted to ask you about here, I pulled up the BV7X terminal, and it said here it had a 61% win rate on the prediction scoreboard. I see here in the bottom left corner. So what is this terminal? Like, is this tracking BV7X real time? Is it tracking all of the agents that are built on top, or how does this terminal work?
Yeah, so right now it's gated with 500 million BV7X, which is way too much, so I have to adjust that. But what this dashboard is telling you is right now the predictions since launch in February are at a 61.4% accuracy, and this is incorporating the individual agent that I had launched, as well as all the other agents that are now competing with each other. So funny enough, the agent that I built, I think, is still like the best agent in the arena. And
naturally,
so yeah, naturally, and so it's sort of like leading the pack. So the accuracy is mostly coming from my agent, but there are some days where my thing is wrong, and there's like a momentum agent that's like picking up like a better signal than I am, and so like that sort of like substitutes my inaccuracy with the accuracy of that data. So anyways, the 61% is like is a reflection of all of the agents right now. And again, like if you had 500 million BV7X, you'd actually be able to see the attribution scores up there, because right now it's sort of like all unlocked.
Got it.
Or locked.
Got it. Sounds good. Well, I think we went through a lot today. We went through the entire protocol, kind of the demographic that you're after. I guess just to kind of closing thoughts, wrapping this all up in, you know, future vision, roadmap. I know you said you have a lot of things coming, but, you know, anything that you'd like to add, and just generally anything that we didn't cover that you'd like to cover. But yeah, let's just wrap up. Let's hear some closing thoughts around a vision and how you see BV7X, you know, playing out in the future.
Yeah, I mean, one of the main reasons why I created this was to incentivize like sustainable predictive intelligence that solves edge decay or this gradual erosion and market advantage, so that anyone can plug into it. And I think this is like, not to go into like a dooms sort of like scenario here, but like I think this is like a fundamentally an existential play to sort of compete with these super intelligence labs. I see how fast everything is moving right now, especially like in the financial sector, or just like in general everywhere. in any sector for that matter. And I think like it's really important that the gap that is being created between this small percentage of people that have this power, this intelligence, doesn't get wider and a lot wider is already. Because I think like things can get super dystopian. Again, I don't want to get like too doomsayer here, but like I think like things like this can kind of like help sort of even out the playing field. I didn't really realize that until maybe like a month ago. I was just more fascinated about building out this thing. Also, like what I'm nerding out or geeking out about the whole time while building this out is that it's very much a game. I mean, there's financial incentives involved, but like I'm literally creating like a Tron for agents that compete for these rewards, and you have people that can plug into it really easily. And I think like this concept, perhaps like right now in the development stage, isn't so easy to understand, but like we're going to try our best to like make it as easy as possible to wire yourself into. So yeah, I mean, I think again, like you take a look at the chart, I think it's like a reflection of all the stuff that like we're shipping and building and constantly talking about. And I think we are sort of like in our own we have carved out like a niche, I think, in this like agentic space. Like there's a lot of people doing like memory plays, credibility, reputation. No one's doing reputation through adversarial settlement. Like I think that's like a super novel thing, and I think it's gonna stand the test of time. So I'm super excited to just build it out and talk about it with people like you guys. So thanks for having me on here.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know you mentioned that there's so much news coming out. There's a lot that you guys are working on. So as you continue to build out BV7X, if there's anything that you'd like to announce, anything that you feel like will be exciting for your community to know, feel free to break it right here on MCG.
Look, the Calendly, we'll cover it. Absolutely.
Yeah, we're always doors always open to you. So we really appreciate you coming on the show here today, Misha. It's been an amazing interview. Thank you so much.
Chill, just before we sign off, like I really agree with your mission. I do worry that the lot of the power is going to get concentrated into either the AI labs or the finance companies, and then there'll just be no edge and no market ever again. Like everything is so efficiently priced that investors are just always losing. And I don't know if that's ever going to happen, true or not, but like, I know it feels like on Solana, it kind of got to that point too, with like Pump Fund and the way bundlers and all this kind of stuff were working again. Automation was working against people and they didn't know it.
So last comment I'll make. I was super disappointed that Bitcoin went from 120K to 60K. I couldn't believe it was happening. I mean, I kind of like had my conspiracy theory hat on, thinking like, okay, there was like some like systematic sell-off that's, attributed to some players in the space that have gone like bankrupt or something. And it really pissed me off because I was just like, the market is doing one thing, but crypto is doing another. And Bitcoin just kept on going down and down and down. And, I've been in crypto since like 2016. I was there with all these like OG founders in the beginning who were very
Poloniex.
Yeah, Poloniex. I think I bought like, remember Ant shares that eventually turned into Neo?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I bought it on Poloniex, but I mean, like,
dude, I'm 2015 ETH as well, so I know exactly what you've gone through.
Sorry, you just broke up. I didn't hear.
Yeah, you, but, I was gonna say I'm 2015 ETH as well, and so I remember like those Trollbox Poloniex days, like XRP ripping from like 1/10 of a penny to a penny.
I think we might have lost them.
Oh no, this is
you guys were cooking there too,
dude. I so agree with this thesis and mission. I mean, one of my buddies, Chill, is like a really big quantitative trading guy, and I talk to him about this all the time. Of like, and he'll calculate the edge just like Misha. He'll like go through and be like, oh, I found this edge and like thing, and it's earned me, like a 30% delta neutral APR or something like that, and I'm gonna put $500,000 in it. I'm like, dude, holy, I'm not even on that level, bro. I'm just trying to buy beer and like pay my mortgage out here. And this guy is just like printing. So it's, yeah, there are like smart people.
So let me just get this straight. You think that you kind of envision a future where everything is so efficiently priced by AI that there could literally be no edge left for like your average, trader on the market?
I think it's like more so that all the edge is concentrated into like a small amount of people, right? And right now the edge is kind of distributed because like anyone can go in and calculate a little bit of edge for themselves. But I think the ultimate worry is that because data and AI are so prolific and the AI knows everything at every moment, it'll just go out and get that edge before anyone else. That's the big concern. But sorry, Misha, we lost you there. Oh, now we can't hear you. Now we can't hear
Oh,
me.
I think he's just muted.
No, your microphone is like a different. It's like your Amazon Alexa is your microphone right now.
Change your source. Change your mic
can you try
source.
your source? I want to get your final sign off here because like
That
dude,
you guys were
This one?
cooking.
Yes.
Yep, there you go.
Okay, yeah. Sorry, I got cut off. Not sure what happened there, but I think just to finish that last thought, I was basically saying that like I was super pissed that Bitcoin was dropping and handling millions of dollars of Bitcoin when you're borrowing at like an LTV at 50%. You're like, okay, well that's like very safe LTV, but then it goes, then it drops 50% over time, and you have to like rebound. It's like. It was a scenario where I didn't think I was ever going to have to like experience. And then because of that, I was like, well, I now have I have tools that I can build that I can not necessarily pay for and track this like a lot better than I was before. And so that was kind of like one of the inspirations of building out BB7X, because I was just like, I had enough of like not knowing as much as I did about the market.
Yeah. And in that scenario, was it knowing that like, is there a lot of leverage in the market, or like, what specific thing that could have like sparked that intuition for you to be like, all right, I need to kind of deleverage a little bit, my exposure here?
If I had BB7X on October 11th, I would have seen that the liquidity just became like there was no liquidity, and everything that just like sold off in this ridiculous sort of like deleveraging play. Like I would have been able to see it in my dashboard. I didn't have dashboards. Sure, I could have like been plugged into any of these other like platforms, but I mean, I wasn't really necessarily looking into it that much, other than like our team. Using like Hypernative and several other tools, like Glassnode and stuff. I mean, we were obviously monitoring our smart contracts as well, but we weren't liquidated at that time. Like, I didn't lose anything. But if I had something like BB7X that like, signaled that, okay, the liquidity is like very thin, and I don't know what was leading up to that. Maybe there was like a ton of like ETF outflows. So maybe it was like a storm in the making, but I was completely.
Well, yeah, and then it was the 7 p.m. Eastern Friday afternoon Trump tweet that nuked it. It was like a tariffs coming back onto like, I don't know, Canada or something like that.
Exactly, and I mean, obviously, I was aware of that because I'm like very dialed in with everything he says, unfortunately. But I mean, I think you have to be.
You have to be, yeah. I mean,
yeah. So like, but anyways, yeah, I just could have had better technology, better dashboards that informed me of what was happening. But again, like it didn't impact our operation. It didn't impact like the trades that I was making.
Misha, leave the people with something here. If you're to open that crystal ball of yours right now, what is the dashboard saying for this market right now?
Ooh,
give us some alpha, some Misha alpha.
I mean, I could open the dashboard right now, but I think I looked at it like several hours ago. Listen, I mean, it's very tumultuous time right now, right? I mean, like the headlines are basically saying the Iranian war is going to be resolved, and then it's not, and then you have gas prices like spiking, and so I think I would be super careful if you're making any big trades right now. If you're actually looking to, in my opinion, the most exciting stuff right now is happening on Base and AI. And I'm not saying that because like I'm biased and I'm building on Base, but like for sure in crypto, if you're still here, that's where the magic is happening. BitTensor as well. Perps are, here to stay, and I think something just passed today where they're like fully legal or something. But
yeah, my Hyperliquid bags are looking great.
Yeah,
Back to BitTensor though, you kind of built something similar to BitTensor. Do you think are you still bullish on BitTensor then in the context of what you created outside of it?
Yeah, 100%. Like I think like I'm very much building like the early days of like BitTensor. BitTensor, I don't think really got a lot of traction until people like in the AI space really figured out that they could like be basically competing for emissions.
It was
I think
super early.
Yeah, I think BitTensor got the nod from from Wall Street like a couple of weeks ago. So like, I think people are starting to figure out like what's happening there. And if you just think about how the world works right now and how data is basically gold, anyone that can actually like, submit computational data sets and get rewarded for it. And the more that sort of like audience increases in size, I think like BitTensor will just naturally grow. They're like first to market in this as well.
So BitTensor, good. Base AI, good. And I'll let you finish your thought. Any other markets, like in the context that we're discussing this, you have the S&P and the stock market ripping to all-time highs every single day. And I think crypto people are like clawing their eyes out if they're overexposed crypto, underexposed equities. I mean, again, I'm trying to give the traders some thoughts here of like what they should do. You're a really smart guy, by the way. So we're trying to extract these thoughts out of you. Beyond being cautious, like should people pivot to equities here, or should people be like, all right, no, some of that capital flow will come back because crypto looks super cheap comparatively?
I mean, one thing I'll say, like I've survived several cycles. Crypto is the most cyclic market ever. There are corrections that are 90% and then they blast back up. So I don't like, you don't want to be the one that's like, I hate to say I told you so, you should have held your crypto. But the only problem with that right now is I would say like the Trump era in crypto has become very not as great as everyone expected. Let's put it that way. And I think that a lot of people have kind of like left crypto, or like the people that have stayed, it's become institutionalized. But the one thing I'll say about AI is like, people are just constantly buying tokens or packages or subscriptions to any of these LLMs, right? And so like, if you think about it that way, these chip providers are always going to need, or just are always going to be in demand. And these data centers are always going to be in demand. Yeah. So I don't know when it's going to pop, but it does, like, I think a lot of people were sort of like worried about that towards the end of last year. And I think as soon as I got into Claude in my whole vibe coding sessions, I was just like, there's no way.
Yeah, no way.
So
I want to ask you on this again. I'll keep chatting your ear off until you say no, but like, it feels like obviously the AI trade is private. The data center, there's a couple Bitcoin miners like Galaxy that's converted to HPC. And then, but outside of that, I mean, like there's the physical Scandists of the world who have seen a huge run. But do you feel like some of the on-chain like base AI stuff is like AI 1.0 was like, oh, Twitter, like AI, it chats to me, not really useful, no value created. But it seems like this AI run, there's more like actual businesses and value created, like in products like yours. Again, if you find an edge, your protocol creates value. People need to buy the token to use it. There's value created. The token goes up. People can participate at 2 million rather than, a $2 trillion market cap. Like, how do you think of like AI on chain this run versus like the last run we saw in, you know, end of 2014 or 2024?
I mean, it's completely different. I think, like, you know, for example, when virtuals like first launched, I think that, I mean, they launched early and they created this ecosystem of where agents can commerce. And I think like it's now becoming very clear that the future of commerce, in my opinion, at least, I think you might agree as well, but like the future of commerce is probably going to be mostly managed by agents. And the reason why is because like now you have agents that can have wallets. And since everything is done digitally, agents can do it much more efficiently, in the billions or trillions. And so like, I firmly believe by 2030, the best trader in the world will be non-human. You know, I think like stuff that's happening sort of like in the, you know, in the AI meets crypto robotic sector is like super interesting right now. I think there will always be like these like super fast like hype cycles that happen in crypto, like meets AI. But yeah, I think in like a year or two, I think a lot of I think a lot of what's being built in the agentic space will actually have like utility. 2 years ago, you know, I think like when I was recommended to like look at DeFi AI or whatever, or like vaults managed by AI, it was just too early because it's too scary.
Yeah.
You can't have agents managing smart contracts. And as you see now, like there's a lot of exploits are happening, and probably a lot of it is being conducted by AI itself, or like research wise.
Yeah.
So I think I think like the security industry, like perhaps using AI is going to get like really. I mean, I don't find it exciting, but there's going to be a lot of developments there. So yeah, I mean, the world is changing quite dramatically right now, and a lot of it is going to be managed by agentic stuff.
All right, Misha, we'll leave you there. I don't know if you have any top picks outside of BV7X, any other tokens that you like? You mentioned Tau, BTC, obviously, but any alpha out there that you leave the people with?
It's an AI dominated space and narrative. So, and you seem to have a lot of alpha on that. So anything that you think isn't vaporware.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the privacy coins. I mean, I think some of it's being manipulated right now, but I don't know. I mean, like, I know the guys like building Aztec are super, you know, they've been there for a while. The L2 privacy ZK chain on Ethereum. I mean, like things like that, I think are going to get a lot more attention and are super important, I think, going forward as well. So I think the privacy area is something to watch.
Can I ask about this? Because privacy, I think people will be like, oh, I don't want my government or like my friends seeing what I'm doing on chain, which I totally understand that. But do you think the angle here is that you don't want AI seeing what you're doing on chain, and then like is because AI is like all knowing at once? Is that why privacy is important? Is because AI is all knowing at once?
I think it like stems back to sort of like the origins of Bitcoin.
But I was also going to say, is this somewhat the origins of like, you don't want all the world to be value concentrated in the labs, but if the internet was fully private, let's say all transactions, all the edge was actually mostly encrypted or private, would the labs not be able then to accumulate all the edge because they wouldn't even be able to see it theoretically?
That's a good question. Maybe that's a good question to end on, to be honest with you, because like that's pretty out there. I'm not sure.
Well, this is what I'm trying to understand, what's driving privacy, because we've had these privacy tokens, like these are not new projects and it's not a new narrative, but all of a sudden in the age of AI, it's now important. And I'm wondering if it's, you know, smooth brain me is like, oh, I don't want my government seeing, I don't want Chill seeing how much money I have when I send them money. But I just think that it's actually, I don't want AI to see what I'm doing, because they will learn from it.
That.
Yeah.
I think it goes beyond that. You know, there was a Diary of the CEO. If you guys ever watched that podcast, very popular guy. But he basically had a podcast that talked about privacy, had literally like 46 million views on Twitter. So I think this goes beyond just like, you know, cryptography, like crypto ethos privacy, right? Like I think this is generally, people have gone through things like COVID. They've gone through so many different real world things where it's just they've recognized the importance of privacy. I mean, you have people in the UK, the UK that have been arrested for tweets that they've posted online, right? Like I think there's a lot of people are just kind of waking up to the fact that, hey, you know, everyone is tapped into everything, and having like a level of privacy is probably important. And I think it's just a much broader narrative, and it just so happened to align with the crypto ethos, which is now creating this sort of like just hype, attention, and just I think it just drives that narrative forward. I think that it just gives that more fire.
Yeah, I think it was always there. I mean, I think like certain things have happened in the last couple of years, besides like some of like the big people or big KOLs or whatever in the space that are sort of like, I don't know, seemingly like pumping their bags. But I think like privacy, when Bitcoin was introduced, like, you know, I don't think anyone really thought that the pseudo anonymous nature of it was going to be a problem in the future. And so like things like Monero had come out and you know, Zcash to sort of like solve that. And I mean, the stuff like that's happening, like the ZK, like submitting proofs on chain, but not necessarily showing everything that's been done. I mean, like, I think like that concept in itself is like super important, and helps like scale up a lot of this privacy stuff as well. So anyone that's building in that territory right now, like Aztec, or, you know, I mean, Zcash is Zcash. It's already, you know, been basically let loose. I think that and AI will be the narratives going forward.
Misha, thank you, buddy. This was a great chat.
Absolutely. Love this and really appreciate you coming on stream and just staying on and chopping it up with us, you know, outside of just, you know, BV 7X. You're an extremely smart guy. So
we're trying to get some of the trading edge for ourselves, you know what I'm saying?
Right. Building edge any way we can.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for having me here, guys. And yeah, for sure, let's be in touch.
Awesome. All right. See you, Misha.
Bye.
Nice little alpha there for the audience. I didn't even realize, like,
dude, at $2 million, I mean, that's like an interesting project.
Man, you know what? I've just kind of settled on, you know, there's so much happening on chain right now. Like, think of where we are, guys. We are at a point where, you know, the crypto FUD is at its maximum. The doomer sentiment is at its maximum. I think I have a tweet or something coming out about this because I've been thinking a lot about this. You have crypto, I mean, you have stocks going to all-time highs. You have other asset classes like commodities and gold reaching new all-time highs, and crypto has just been doing absolutely nothing this entire time. If anything, it's been painful to be in this industry, you know, up until now. And you know, at its most painful point, which I feel like is now, where, you know, Bitcoin is still underperforming, stocks are still hitting new all-time highs. You know, you see on the timeline, that people are sharing, you know, their stock picks. People are pivoting away from this industry. And while that's happening, you see so many projects like BXV7 or BVX7 that they're building these crazy projects, innovative, real tech. They come from real backgrounds. I mean, look at all of the projects we've interviewed over the last couple of weeks. The Squires of the world, the Opals of the world, and the list goes on and on and on. Like we've talked to like any of these tech projects that you see that have been you know, going crazy. The Claws of the world, Clued, and so many others. I mean, this is the perfect time to get involved, in my opinion. And you're right, Crypto Jones. Real projects build in the bear market. All these things are building. All these tokens that we're talking about, they're still sub 10 mil market cap. They're still so low in the grand scheme of things. You know, I think when we look back at this time, I think we will say this is the time to be involved in this industry.
Yeah.
Tell Friv that's a clip, man. Tell Friv that's a clip. Get me that. But yeah, I think there's a lot happening. There's a lot of opportunity there. And you know, in the coming months, we'll see how all of this plays out. But great time to get involved, guys.
Dude, I just, yeah, it's wild. You know, like, cause in my, like, you know, if he's successful, he seems super smart, right? Like,
Yeah.
the thing is, like, I want to bet on someone like that, bet on the Squire guy, like the Opal conversation. Yes, it may have, for your listening ears, been a little harder to follow. Like, you can just see there's like a level of intelligence that transcends, you know, hopping on a live stream. And so it's like, these are people that, like, you know, maybe their product's not out yet, but I think a lot of them are trading on kind of, you know, these are people we want to back. So
boom, 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 man.
Yeah.
MCG's in a bull market by ourselves. When we look back, you're right, Pamadiji. When we look back at this time, we will think of MCG.
Dude, this is facts right here. Like, you know, because if you think about MCG in our life cycle, when we find projects, I mean, remember Graphane when it was like, you know, at first it was like 600, 700K.
Oh man, Graphane was such a,
that
was like my favorite
Christian,
bag
like,
of all time.
chilled that, and then, you know, ripped to like, you know, 1 or 2 mil. Like, at that point, like 1 or 2 mil, I'm like hammering Graphane. Hey, come on the show. I want to know what you're building. What are you going to release? That thing ripped to $700 million, guys.
Yes, bro.
Like, that had a 7
bro.
or 100x after, and like BV7X, again, it's a, you know, 1.6 mil in like a peak season. Let's say we're at the precipice of a massive bull run again, right? AI, crypto convergence. It's like we're going from the AI labs to now like products that are driving real value, like BV7X. It's like, okay, these, you know, neural nets of AIs are continually feeding an edge. And let's say the edge is good. Let's say people are actually paying for it, right? They come, they buy the BV7X token. They're willing to spend hundreds, if not thousands of dollars to get that edge. You know, next thing you know, the token's 300-400 mil. Like, that's kind of like, we want to be early like that. That's where this show comes off. Yo, pre-MCG, of course. I mean, if I was running MCG back during Graphane, I probably would have had a $1 to $3 million entry. Easily.
I had a $1 million entry. Shout out all the bros that were in TG with me. We had a $1 million entry on a blind ape on Graphane just because we knew Tolly was shilling it. At 3 mil, we did a little bit more research. Still didn't know much because we were trading so much at that time. Like, it was hard to look into absolutely everything. All I know was Tolly shilling something. It's the future of finance. We aped it blindly in the TG. And, you know, by like, you know, 5-7 mil, we kind of found out what it was. We held, you know, and like weeks later, you know, it's in the hundreds of millions. So, I mean, dude, that was a 6-figure play for me, man. Graphane was absolutely amazing. But I want to go back to Ave, your comment. I forgot what 100 mil market cap even is anymore.
Yeah.
Look, that's what these markets do, right? These markets, they convince you that nothing can go higher anymore. It convinces you, it allows you to forget what the good times feel like. So when it does come around again, it tends to instill that same level of euphoria, right? Shout out the boy Mirage. He's a great follow, but he said the most bullish market often comes after the greatest uncertainty. And I don't think the phrase went exactly like that. The tweet was much longer, but that's what I got from it. And that's exactly what your comment in chat there brings to mind. It's just, there's so much uncertainty, people kind of lose sight. And so I say all that to say the road back to euphoria, the road back to up only price action, the road back to, you know, literally everyday runners, it's not as long as people would like to think. Bitcoin was pumping, not even like actually like explosive price action. It was just kind of walking up, and we saw altcoins, mini altcoin season on the high caps. We saw a little window of risk on chain. And people started looking for beta plays. They started bidding narratives, right? Like things came back and things were alive again. And Bitcoin didn't even do much. So imagine when we do go back to 90, 100K and beyond, things are going to get crazy again, and we'll be here to cover it on MCG.
You know what I just saw? I saw Rasmer doing the 6-7 skit, and he's just like, this for Hyperliquid, 6-7, 6-7. It's just like absolute brain rot nonsense, but he is euphoric. Like he's obviously in hype, or he loves it, or he's just doing it for the clicks. But here, like, I think you need a market leader, right? You need something to run, really set the crypto narrative.
Yep.
I don't think it's going to be ETH. I don't think it's going to be Bitcoin. I don't think it's going to be Solana. So far, it seems like it's going to be more hype than anything. But we are seeing it right now. So we're seeing that initial market leader. And I think, Chill, you're the one that said this, like the market is feeling out for a market leader. So, step one. All right. Check box. Okay. More inflows maybe, but yeah, unfortunately, we're headed for a big June dip. In my opinion, entries will be coming for all your maybe
100%. No. I think so. I fully agree with you, Crypto Jones. But here's the thing. Imagine going into that dip and not seeing it coming, right? Like we've been covering it on stream. We've talked about the fair value gap, the 2-week fair value gap resistance on Bitcoin for literally since mid-April, early April, right? So we've known that this dip is coming. But imagine going into that dip like listening to the timeline. Imagine going into that dip thinking, oh man, next bull run, 100K coming, right? Like imagine going into that and not taking profit and not seeing that coming. What we have now essentially is a generational opportunity is approaching. In June, I'm pretty sure this summer we will have that generational dip. I told you guys I'm looking for sub 60K, and the timeline will be in shambles. What we're going to do is we're going to come out and we're going to be buying those lows, right? We've already formed the thesis. Back in April, I told you guys there might be a run, right? We were looking for sub 60K, but I said, look, based on all this war stuff happening at the very last stream of April, we covered this, right? And here we have a run coming into May, and we covered it for weeks and weeks and weeks. Look, there's a dip coming. I told you guys selling man go away, right? Like I'm gonna be enjoying my summer, accumulating, chilling on stream with the bros. We'll still be here covering what we cover. But yeah, there's absolutely gonna be a dip, but it's gonna be like pay attention to what's running. Pay attention to Hype, Zek, Near, Ton, Tau, right? Ondo, Jito. Pay attention to Solana utility, to base innovation. Pay attention to ace rounds. Pay attention to, all these things that are running now, because now Opal is at all-time high. But
bro, it's
when
cooking.
it dips, but when it dips down back to let me actually show you guys this. Since we're talking about it, let me just pull my screen.
Give them a trade ideas here, like And by the way, this is again why we delim. Why I'm delimming is I want this to dip, guys. This is the discovery candle, and you don't have to just be like, oh, June's going to be a bad month and I can't play anything. It's like maybe just you're a liquidity provider. You're a little more risk off. That's my plan at least. So yeah, sorry, Chill. Go ahead. You share your trade setup.
No. You're good. I don't know how high. I don't know how high Opal runs. Maybe it runs as high as 7-10 mil, right? Like off this, because basically they confirmed some stuff yesterday, and it was people are really excited about that news. But in June,
that was alpha too on stream.
Yeah, and I'm not even gonna repeat that. Y'all gonna have to go back and watch that. But this is the buy zone here. Right. This is actually let me mark that out live here for you guys. This is the
these guys are pre-product.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
so I think this is a little ahead of itself too, by the way.
I mean, honestly, like it's going off of the hype. It's going off of the OpenAI connection, the Sam Altman connection. Like it's, but eventually, like this is not saying that Opal is a bad project. At some point, buyers will turn into sellers, holders will turn into profit takers, right? Like it's natural. Price goes up, price goes down. That's where we come in as smart money, and we see the opportunity in these prices. And that's going in connection to what Crypto Jones is saying here. He says, my point is pay attention to what's running and have some dry powder to deploy. That's exactly what we're saying. Fully agree with you, bro. At the end of the day, we know that things don't go up in a straight line. Things will go up and down. So if it's up and you know that it's going to go down, it's just a matter of highlighting some buy zones, right? Where is price likely to come down to? If price can go from what's this 207 70K to 6 mil, if price can do that, price can dip down, right? Like, and shout out to my fib guys, right? Like golden pocket on the fib is confluent with the buy zone there on a high time frame, and it's also confluent with my pivot entry here. This is a pivot entry here, right here. We also have some confluence here on the key pullback levels, right? The 886. So yeah, there's again plan the trade and trade the plan. By the way, there was yesterday. There was, oh man, hold on. Why is I can't see the full screen button on my deck screener right now for whatever reason. It's not like right here where my mouse is, I can't see anything. But anywho,
dude, honestly, the resources that StreamYard consumes on my laptop literally make it almost impossible to do anything else. Like I need a gaming PC.
Low key.
Like I need a better setup, guys. I'm so sorry that sometimes we lag, but like I'm on a shoestring budget here to run this, so we're gonna get better. But we need to.
Pamadiji, I'm right there. I'm right there with you. I think the trade idea everyone wants to see is our dear Squire, unless it stair step. Please, dude, I've been waiting on Squire. Actually, let's see if we can eye like a pivot entry somewhere.
Yeah, give us I need this for my DLIM right now. I'm printing fees, guys, right now. I've printed like one soul just in chatting with you guys.
Man, this is so I mean the chart is saying, pivot entry here. That's what the chart is saying. Let's look on the daily. See. Yeah, that's what it's saying, man. Chart is saying 0.786. Chart is saying 3 mil market cap is the buy zone. That's what this is saying. So let me mark this out on stream here as well. Buy zone on Squire. Again, I don't know if Squire could just keep running, right? Like the market does not owe us an entry. It doesn't owe us a thing. So this could like pull a pumpcade and just like defy all gravity and just continue running higher. But right now, as it stands, I'm seeing that the buy zone is confluent with the 0.786, and with the context that we could be pulling back on Bitcoin and going to sub 60K levels, and the timeline could be in shambles and everyone that was bullish is turning bearish. That could lead us to lower prices, which could lead us to this buy zone, right? So that's the context that I'm providing for this trade. And I think Squire's probably like low key like that sleeper, right? Like that's the 100 mil runner in my opinion. I think that's going very very far. I think it's just starting. But again, nothing goes up in a straight line. We'll always have pullbacks along the way, right?
Yeah,
so.
And we need to see more of a business. It's like I think people fade it because it's like the X looks like a funny. But yeah, I want to know what the actual business is. I see this Spectro thing too. Said, oh man, good for these guys. These guys were on MCG like a while ago.
Hey, Dom, are you listening to? If Dom is listening to the stream right now, just yesterday, Me and Dom, we were talking about my imaginary lines with my fib levels. And here we are bouncing off the 0.786 literally yesterday. I literally called it out right here. Let's actually go on the 4 hours. Actually, right here. Right. Yesterday we were on stream and Dom was like, man, like this pumped. I kind of want it to go lower. I'm like, well, the pivot entry is all the way down at like sub 200K market cap. I don't know if it gets that low because according to the fib, the 886, this last line of defense that we've been testing out live on stream with you guys for the last how much ever months, right? Or it's probably been more like 6 weeks, 8 weeks or something like that. So maybe a couple months. But anyway, I told you guys yesterday, according to the chart and the lines say this won't go much lower than the 886. And so while the pivot entry is lower, I'd buy right now. And bang, bang, we're up 2x. So you're welcome. So, just to say there's some meaning behind the lines, right? The lines don't automatically mean a pump. The lines just tell you where's a proper place to buy, because ultimately that's all I use fibs for, is just entries. I don't use fibs. I try to stick to support and resistance. That's the best thing that you can stick to. But obviously you see this line here, this green line, that's support. You see the red line, 886. They're both at the same place. That's called confluence. So if support is confluent with a key fib level, it tends to be a great place to buy. So yeah. Anywho, I've been hearing a lot about this Spectro token, bro. I was doing some research on this Spectro token last night. It was at 160K market cap. Somebody was trying to shill it to me at 80K market cap. And it had this first pump to 200K, and then it completely like sold off. So I was like, oh shoot, somebody tried to show me like some garbage or something. But then the message came in like literally right here. They were like, chill,
who
bro.
sent it to you? Do you know?
It's a longtime friend of mine. Like he's we were trenching back in ETH days. But you guys might know him, Crypto CEO. He's a good follow. At least he was last time I checked his account. But I don't know. I talk to him more than I watch his tweets. But anywho, he hit me up and he's like, yo, here's another one. And I was like, you sure? And he was like, yeah, look, I know I talked to you about this before, but the dev broke his arm in the gym. So everybody sold off. That's what he said. He said funny. The dev broke his arm. Well, I'm sorry, dev of Spectro. I'm not laughing at you breaking your arm. That's not. I'm so sorry that happened to you. I'm just laughing at the fact that people sold off for that reason. But anywho, apparently, he's back and better than ever. I'm assuming with one arm, maybe. I don't really know how that worked out, but I got the ping at 80K.
What's his handle? Do you mind? I'm gonna put the handle in chat for everyone.
Who's that? Crypto CEO?
Yeah, I couldn't find it.
Yeah. Let me see. Crypto CEO. Does he? I follow him. Why is it not showing up? Let me see if his TG has his. At Crypto CEO _. It should be at Crypto CEO _. Oh, I spelt it wrong. That's why. Crypto CEO _. Here we go. Yeah, great guy. Good guy. He's always been a good hunter for like really, really solid projects. I'll send it in TG, by the way. He's
here. I got his.
You got it?
Yeah, here. I'll just flash it on screen. This one,
Bang.
Right?
Oh, I thought I had that on screen. I'm looking at his profile. I didn't switch switch screen. Yeah, that's his profile right there. He's a pretty good hunter. And he's always had a knack for.
Bro, May 22nd. What was it at May 22nd? Oh my goodness. Do I even want to know?
May 22nd. it was at like 150K.
Yeah.
So that was pre-sell off. So he basically like endured this sell off and was like, no, I'm standing on business. This is a great project. And like obviously that paid off. But basically with him, man, like he helped me find Serve, actually, and XMW when they first launch. Both of those are like, 20, 30X's, after launch. Like, and obviously Serve now is still around, great project. So yeah, I mean, he just has a knack for finding really good projects. He's actually gonna be in the Discord too. So
the Discord, MCG Discord's gonna be hype.
Can we talk about that for a second? Can we just
please.
hey, look, let me talk to you guys face to face, PFP to PFP, right?
I was gonna say, are we getting a face reveal right now? Are we getting a dox on stream? What?
So guys, this Discord is actually coming together really nicely. I'll be doing some last touches here. And so, Ave the Brave, Crypto Jones, Top Fumbler, Pomadigi, VTuber to PFP. It's very coming soon. Dude, the VTuber tech like lags the heck out of my setup, bro. So if I can't do VTuber and share charts at the same time, that's the current problem.
Damn. Okay.
So but I mean, the VTuber, I can turn it on right now and y'all be able to see it. But yeah, it's solid. So Hawks, info is coming on Monday. Okay. So if you guys are on stream right now, I'm not posting this anywhere else. I'm not telling anyone. I want you guys, our core audience, people that are here on a Friday afternoon when the market isn't, when the market is, is doing a lot, but you guys are here. You guys want to be here on stream. We appreciate y'all. And for doing that, we want to drop it on stream. So on Monday, we'll drop a lot of stuff. We'll do we can even do like a full tour of the server on Monday stream as well for all of you guys that join in. Pomadigi, I know you mentioned that you were interested in modding and stuff like that. Like, I want to actually collaborate with you guys in the Discord as well. How do you guys want to grow the Discord? Should we let in like a couple hundred people at a time? Like, I want you guys input as well. But we're not gonna flood the Discord at first. We're just gonna invite a few core stream audience, a few of our core stream audience, invite some trenchers, some hunters, some researchers, some people with real alpha. And so we'll have everything basically that you'll need there. And the ultimate goal is to build the alpha hub. I mean, it sounds, the word alpha is kind of like played out on CT, but literally this is like the core, like stream flow, the core information flow, right? Where
it's funny. I actually thought alpha was played out too. And then I saw this Yahoo Finance alpha product. I was like, oh, it's not played out. It's just
no. If Yahoo is using it, yes. Got inspired by let's look at your article, bro.
Yeah. Like, let's cover the article on MCG here.
Okay, real quick. Let's check out Top Fumbler's article.
Top Fumbler has alpha, man. Top Fumbler Squire, man. I don't even know what Top Fumbler. If you remember, what was the market cap of Squire when you first shilled it to us?
He said, "No, please don't." Too late. It's already here. I'm about to bring it up on screen. Bang. The boy Top Fumbler. Look at his article, man.
The De Niro inspiration.
The De Niro Dom inspo. Let's go. Matmo maxing. Hidden Alpha. PRL net. AMA. May 18th. TLDR.
Oh yeah, this Pearl.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Let's get into this because
I'm so glad you posted about this. Yeah, this has been a lot of people have talked about this because it's a new, from what I understand, it's a flashy new L1 with all the bells and whistles, and there's some new like crazy feature, and there's also pretty hard to buy, so there's like a level of barrier to entry there. So you can't really it's not easily accessible. So yeah, let's see. Let's read the article. Let's see what's up. It's very specific to an AMA recording I found, though, not that general. Okay. Okay, so let's see if we can find some general info and or any key alpha. A Pearl's core goal is AI native money. Ooh, AI native money. That's a big as narrative as Bitcoin. I mean, Bitcoin is, hard money for humans, right? I mean,
Well, yeah, and also the thesis there is like we've created these forms of money, whether it be traditional money, bank money, Bitcoin money. It's like, do AIs even want to use crypto-based money, or will they create their own?
right, yeah. So Pearl's core goal is AI native money, not just cheaper inference, but a Bitcoin-like monetary asset tied to AI compute instead of hash power energy. That's actually pretty crazy. Moving toward a neo cloud where it's eventually bi-directional compute PRL. Can use PRL directly for the cheapest inference on the market. Ooh, boy, that's crazy. I mean, when you tie, there are a lot of big things in AI, right? Compute is big, needed. Inference is big, needed. Um, this is actually a pretty insane concept and very, very well put, very well written article. The key technical variable is overhead. If Perl compatible compute shows inference too much, serious AI providers will not adopt it. If they can drop overhead to zero, it becomes basically impossible to game as useful compute can mine PRL for free. The ideal miner is already doing real AI work. Useful work does not need to be public. Inference providers, etc., run workloads anyway, can mine PRL at low marginal cost. Providers can mine PRL while serving users and then use rewards to lower inference prices or improve margins. Very attractive for any hyperscalers, neo labs. Okay. So there's like a demand and a market gap that this can fill, essentially, to be able to provide like cheaper inference for other labs, other AI labs, I'm assuming. Okay. I have to look at this. Actually, um this is a really good gateway article to kind of like whet your appetite when it comes to Pearl. I know that sounds so weird. Pause, by the way. Man, me and Dom with these pause moments between yesterday and today. That's crazy. But I mean, thanks for a great article, Top Fumbler, is what I'm trying to say here. Okay. Great
Yo, my
article.
appetite is so wet. It's unreal.
No, don't say it like that.
Unreal.
Don't you dare say it like that. Oh my goodness. All right. But Top Fumbler, absolutely like great article there. Very solid.
When you get a second, I got something next. Maybe is there a chart that you can pull up for this just to tie this bow off here?
PRL? I don't think so. I can check. Yeah. Hawk said, "Hey, yo." I know. Hey, that was more for Josh though, right? Like Josh,
Yeah,
that was worse
I
than
didn't say it.
mine, right?
Whatever. I'm just trying to get it's part of the show's entertainment too, right, guys? So
Yeah, 100%. Biggest alpha, in my opinion, is that they are in talks with two hyperscalers and are already working to bake it with some top hardware chip.
all right, I need to see a chart on this.
Oh.
How do Top Fumbler? What's the CA, bro? Give us a CA here.
I think it's wrapped. It's like a Bitcoin. It reminds me of like a bit, not Bitcoin, a whatchamacallit, a Tau situation where, but someone made a bridge for, is it this? Is it this here? Is it this? Let me know if this is the right chart. No CA, bruv. It's a new L1. This is the wrapped Pearl though, yeah? I mean, this says 341K market cap. What are we even talking about?
Whoa. Okay.
I don't know if this is the real market cap though. So I don't know if Dex Screen is accurate here.
Oh, it is
But
the logo top left. Yeah.
Yeah, this is wrapped Pearl. This isn't like the real Pearl. Yeah. Top Fumbler says someone made a bridge. So there is this one, but does not represent it properly. So I don't really like, it's very hard to get on-chain exposure. And there's a lot of controversy around this one. Oh, real market cap is 200 mil. Tough. But that's fine though. I mean, I think this is probably worth a lot more. Probably worth a lot more. What was I gonna say? There was a Yeah, there was a little bit of drama about this because someone posted, I'm not going to say their name, but a certain like research team stole someone's research apparently and used it as their own to talk a little bit about Pearl. Um, but it seems like this is a pretty solid project. And I mean, even at 200 mil, I think this is one of the ones that 180 million tokens at $1.50 OTC. Yeah, dude. Like this doesn't even have to do anything about market cap at a certain point. 180 million tokens is not a lot and still pretty cheap. Um, so yeah, interesting. Interesting. I wonder something real quick. Okay.
I can do a little something if you're doing some DD here. I have
Yeah, do your thing. I think that pretty much ties a bow on it though. There's we did a little bit of DD and we covered the wrapped asset as well. I'm gonna take a quick I'll let you do your thing.
All right. So, guys, back to Squire real quick. I was actually just looking at this buy here because it seemed to candle like in one massive candle here. So I found this buyer, and this is okay. 30K buy. Look at what that did to a chart. Right, moved from 5 to 8 or 9 mil. When you go look at this transaction, this wallet was dormant for over a year. So this trader, at least this wallet specifically, I don't know this trader overall. So take that with a grain of salt. Like 1 year ago, they were trading. The last thing that he had traded was, funny enough, was Trump coin. And he pulled out $700,000 pulled out and has sent it to the Arbitrum network. Presumably, I'm assuming to go to Hyperliquid, I would think. So trader with some size, he traded Trump a bit. Yeah, it had a value of 200K. So maybe the 700K went to 200K. Who knows? Anyways, this wall has woken up again. 560 sold, deposited 2 hours ago, again from D-Bridge. I guess it's coming back from Hyperliquid or Arbitrum. I don't know if you're trading on Arbitrum. And then just aped one clip into Squire. And so that's what sent 45K into the chart, which has kind of sent this here. So interesting to see that you don't need a lot of liquidity flowing back. It only takes one or two of these types of trades, and all of a sudden, these kind of charts can get a little extended. So I just thought that was interesting to note. Also, when we had Squire on 3 mil hitting 8.5, so nice solid move from when we had Squire on the other day. Really good conversation. My D-lim here this is like right in the middle of my range. I'm liking this. I was thinking of actually closing it and opening an Opal one, but I have to say, I mean, maybe, or he bridged Hyperliquid. Maybe he bridged Hyperliquid. I don't know. But I thought I was going to do an Opal one, but I might just keep this open on Squire and just kind of sit here. If more liquidity comes around this ace narrative, maybe this just starts to kind of go through the range again. I would be like thinking we got to be, kind of pretty bullish for that to be happening. So, I will see. Let's see if there's anything else in the discovery. I made some money on 250. That was actually a decent cook. D-lim setup. I usually go here 1 hour fees. Chill, you're moving me around on screen here. Yeah, I don't like Baby Troll. Okay, Rich, this is based off that dude who unfortunately has cancer. I think Nick is his name, Choose Rich guy. Charity coins are tough just because, what brings it back? Let's see, what else? Just trying to give it a little zinc. This was one that I thought I might re-enter too, but volume is really dried up on this. I don't know if this is a re-entry on zinc. Let's see. I like this range. I mean, if I had kept my zinc delim on, I would have been like printing fees, although the volumes have definitely dropped off. But again, your liquidity competition is, there's only 11K in this pool. So your liquidity competition is not too much. Let's see what other pools there are. Oh, so this is the highest TVL pool. Okay. So yeah, not a lot of liquidity. Again, you kind of, in a way, got a position a little bit of ahead of where the trading volume might come in. One thing that killed Zinc's PA was they, I think like $100,000 where the Zinc tokens were paid out because someone won the 1 in 700 chance of the spin happening. Premise. Yeah, let's see Premise. I got to go get the Premise CA though. Let's see. I prefer like looking at these MetaDAO delims whenever there's volume on kind of more Meteor based. This is what a bags token. Also, Premise has been on. We've been very kind of cautious on Premise just because, you know, I don't know if it was bundled or not, but it may have looked like that. And we were on stream mentioning that a while ago. So another thing I like to do is come and choose the largest TVL pool. So I would take this 2%. I think the minimum fee you want to have, especially on providing liquidity to microcaps, would be the minimum fee is like 2%, 2.5%, 3% is what you want. How your fell about Square can be top mayor. Vichu, I don't really know if I understand this question very well.
He's saying if it can be how do you feel about Squire? Do you feel like it can be a top major, like a maybe like a leader or something like that?
I need to see the business. I don't know. Like we had him on stream again. I think S tier founder, like guy had $800 million exits, worked at publicly listed companies. The dude alone like could raise that evaluation if he's building like a decentralized inference network, kind of, you know, you can sell your tokens kind of like VVV or whatever. I mean, that's trading. Go look at what that's valued at, $300-400 million. You could probably raise at like $30 million, and then the token's trading at $5 million. He said, I want to give back to my token holders, like very clearly. Ace round, yeah, you know, we'll figure it out, but we want to do it. You know, full porting, not really. Like right now I'm full porting because I'm trying to build this account. We started like 5 soul challenge, right? And right now we're at 30 or whatever. I'm trying to build it up. So I normally wouldn't, but I think like Zinc, for instance, I did. And that took me from 10, like 8 soul, 9 soul to like 30. And in some instances, sometimes you have the edge in the trade. You just got to press it. Right. And, you know, the liquidity, it had gone up well into my range. And I just felt comfortable rolling the fees back in because I was such in profit and the volumes were starting to come in. I had no reason to even close it. Did I watch it? Yeah. Like I did watch it, but I slept well at night knowing that I was delimbed and not like, I wasn't fully like long the trade. I was actually wanting it to dip and kind of just range. I wanted it to range. Premise, let's see. I mean, I don't even know. This only 24-hour fees is super low. There's no volume here. Look, tiny, too small volume. I'd pass on this pool. I think there's better pools out there. Yeah, I mean, I think what was his name? Chris is S tier founder. Definitely S tier. Guys, man, Meteora, I'm not gonna lie, they sponsor the show, of course, but man, look at this P&L. I do not have win rates like this anywhere else. I've traded a lot of stuff over the years. I just do not have win rates anywhere else like this. I'm not on some gambling app or anything here where Meteor has paid me to like talk about it. Like, dude, this is definitely a great way to place trades. I really like this range, guys. I think like everyone noticed this candle. Well, that was an hour ago, 2 hours ago. Everyone noticed this buy, right? And it swept through the range. I probably made one solely off this candle alone, just in fees on a 30 SOL position, right? So anyways, yeah, the thing why I like delimbing these kind of ACE tokens or utility tokens is because there's a good probability that the chart will range. Like meme coins, you go look at any of the meme coins here on the Discover page, like they all look the same. You know, let's see, 250. They're all like the volumes are good when they first launch, but they're all going to look like this, right? Like this is not good to delim. You don't want to delim this because let's say you're here, you see it ranging, there's good volumes, you know, you start setting your kind of your bins here to catch that. But all of a sudden that starts to move out of your range. You're taking pretty big losses here at this point. So I don't like that. Let's go to another meme coin, baby troll. It's going to look the exact same, right? Again, you'll make money on the upside here, but a lot of these meme coins never sustain. So same situation. You're like, oh, great range, delimbing, but it starts to fall out of my range and you start taking pretty heavy losses again, right? Now on meme coins though, one thing I will say is if it's bottomed out right now, you can do pretty well here, right? So the only time I really like playing meme coins is like when they've kind of gone through this cycle and then you start to see it kind of get picked up again, right? And then you can kind of, position even into some of this volume, but it's really hard to tell, right? Like right now, the ACE theme, this is the same thing with Printer. Like when Printer was hot, I was only trading Printer tokens, only deliming Printer tokens and did quite well. But again, when that trade dried up and went bad, it went bad so you kind of got to be there and then, dip out. What other tokens? Henry, this is another one that I actually did okay on, but same scenario. It's like went parabolic. I was delimbing up here, did okay with it. This is based off some kid who was sadly stabbed in the UK, but it's really starting this kind of social movement.
Jeez.
I mean, the UK has been, really in this social movement for some time, this kind of more nationalistic social movement. And Elon Musk has been posting a ton about this kid and the case. And there's just a lot of like conversation around it. I don't necessarily like charity tokens, but this is one that I could see, having some, SOL in a range like this, maybe buying a little bit of Henry, having in a range like this. If Elon, again, you're just every time Elon posts about it, the chart goes. It could do okay. So one to maybe keep an eye on. I'm just going through my trades. This is one I made some money on too. This elephant thing. I basically bought this down here. Okay, bro, I'm not gonna lie. I saw this elephant one at like, I don't know, 100K somewhere here. I was awake. I don't know what this was. First thing in the morning, I saw it. I thought, oh, that's kind of a exotic ticker. Like maybe that would be big. Saw this at 100K and it went to freaking, I don't know, went to like 3 mil or something. I felt sick knowing that I almost aped. I aped something else that did not do well. But I mean, this is an interesting range here. You're kind of positioning out front of the liquidity. If this starts to trade, if this holds, this could trade higher. We've been in a market for so long that meme coins just don't come back, right? But we may be starting to get into a market where like, okay, things might, retest the range or break out and maybe they consolidate and go again. I think, what was it? That Lobstar one did that. I am too jaded in this market, Crypto Jones. I agree with that, but I mean, that's true until it's not. One day that we'll get into a market where things started running again and old memes start to pick up. What do you think of layoff token? What is this, a playoff Is this a playoff like AI related layoffs or something? Let's see. Layoff. Let me look. Always post a CA if you guys don't mind. Oh my goodness. Wow, this thing's really wow.
Is it a meme coin?
This is definitely a meme coin. The only severance package that appreciates, layoffhedge.com. Yeah, but like you need people to buy it after you to appreciate. Okay, some bundles. This entity owns 25 mil.
You said it's a media company. Post it with like a little thesis too, reporting on layoffs.
Yeah, always post with a thesis. Okay. This is interesting. So trying every workforce reduction. This is kind of like that pizza Intel one that I don't know if someone was just playing with the chart on it, but it never really, the war is popping off. Pizza Intel is like people are doing
PBW
stuff. PBW,
yeah,
Pentagon Pizza Watch. But yet, like, I mean, did the token didn't perform at all. It was like sat at 300K. It was terrible. So this here, I'd probably fade this. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, maybe you could provide liquidity to it, like say, oh, this is the discovery phase of it, and then it will kind of, have a double top, come down and do like something like this and range for a bit. Like you could delim this for sure. But I don't know if I'm holding this to go from 2 mil to 10 mil. Like, I don't know. Not that interesting for me personally. Reporting on layouts. I just think there's like, I don't know why. Again, one thing we like to focus on the show is like things that crypto uniquely solves. Does crypto solve like data tracking for layoffs? I mean, governments do that. There's, I'm sure, a lot of sources. So I don't want to, if you're in this, I don't want to FUD your layoff token. Like surely this, like anything, it can always go higher. But at 2 mil, you got to try and think like, is the narrative strong enough? Is there virality here? Is there the token integrated? Like, is this a token? Is the layoff token something that uniquely only crypto can solve, right? Whereas like some of these AI plays that we are seeing on chain that are being successful right now, like, yeah, the token's integrated in a way that only the token can solve, right? This is the thesis. Yeah, I can't click on this on my version of StreamYard. I have to go back through X to pull it up. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think I'm long this just personally. Anything else? Any other tickers you guys had? Drop them in chat. We always drop tickers in chat. We love looking at stuff. Yeah, let's check out that. That was another kind of one in the old basket. Actually, let me just do a check-in here. Opal. Okay, Opal looking again. I like that range there. I think there's more volume to come. These feel like they move well, but there's not like crazy volume. Yeah, so someone around that 1 p.m. time, like I showed, aped a bunch of these. Look at 40K at a time. They're aping into these. It's not even that a lot of money. Like 2 years ago, 40K was like that was dust in people's wallets. Let's see, Futardio.
Crazy.
I always keep an eye on Futardio just in case, because one day you never know. Maybe that community takes off and it's only like 120K. Let's see, Percolator. I will get to Router in a second. This is one I just always keep an eye on, but I really like this here. So this is another example of positioning in front of the liquidity on a DLIM. It's like, okay, come here. Let's say you have 10 SOL. You buy 5 spot. You put 5 down to maybe the 900K range here, and then spread your spot liquidity out to all the way up to 4 mil or something like that. And then just go to sleep. You go touch grass, come back in like a few days. And, you kind of are positioning in front of the liquidity. Anatoly mentions it. You get some volume, all right, that prints you money. They announced that their product is live, or the beta is going well. They got 1,000 users in the beta, pumps again. You capture all the fees on this volume. You don't care necessarily whether the token goes down or up. You just care that it doesn't go down super fast. That's literally, there's 2 out of 3 ways you win in delimbing. You win, the token goes up. You win if it ranges or goes down and ranges slowly. The only time you really, really lose is A, if there's no fees, no volume, and B, is if it goes right out of your range quickly, like meme coins do. Okay, let's do router. I think this again. I'm trying to remember the conversation we had with this guy. It was a good convo, but this was ace round 2. Yeah, I think your liquidity on something like this, you want to set kind of like this. That could be your range. Let me see if I can grab the CA here. All right, so right now, the router pools. I don't like 1% or less. I usually, so I hear you want to be in the highest TVL pool, but also, I don't know, 1%. I mean, 24-hour volume, 1% is not bad. What's the TVL? Yeah, 24-hour fees of TVL is pretty low. 100 bips is kind of small. So again, okay. It's got some recent volume. I think this is largely driven by that whale that bought around the 11 a.m. 1 p.m. What eco is this out of? This was no. This is serve. I think router is serve eco. I think I'm more interested in the ace kind of eco right now, versus serve personally, in terms of like delimbing and sticking your liquidity somewhere. Let's check PayAI. Right. Bump the Orca pool. We don't, yeah. Also, pretty sure that's a scam pool. And we don't mess with Orca. We always Meteora, guys. Always Meteora. Because all right, this is not bad. Actually, let me see if PayAI has a this is not bad. Look at the decent volume here. Pretty decent volume. Let's see what how the fee to TVL is doing on this. So yeah, again, this seems kind of low. I think you're positioning ahead of liquidity. I'm also not super thing with DLIM is, again, you need catalyst driven liquidity almost sometimes, or that's why the memes are good, is because they have really good liquidity at first. Everyone's trading it. PI, not bad chart. I'm just wondering what drives X402. It's not a new narrative, and I kind of liked more the Dexter one. X402 or PI at 7 mil. I really like Dexter. It's also part of bump the let's go here, Dexter. I'm gonna pull open Dexter real quick. Pump in here. Okay. Here's a 2% pool. I like this. Again, low 24-hour fees to TVL, but this might trade off the ace round kind of narrative. I would prefer Dexter over PayAI. We know that you get a 1-to-1 equity to, so if you buy 1% of Dexter, you get 1% of their equity. Let me see if I can refresh this. I don't know why that's not pulling in the feed correctly. I just don't think the volume, in terms of a DLIM, I don't think the volume's there on this. But if you're looking to, I think you could buy this and do quite well on this risk reward wise. You just got to be patient, right? Like all these kind of utility tokens, kind of have a bit more patience. If you're there to click buttons and you like get the gambler itch, like go buy meme coins. Don't buy utility. But just because some of them you're kind of you gotta think longer term. Chill, do you want to take repo real quick? I don't know if
I'm
Chill's
unmuted. I'm muted.
Here, let me check Kins real quick and then maybe we
Go
can
for
do repo. Okay, Kintara, I did see this, and I actually almost provided liquidity to this too. Let's see, is this the right pool? Okay, let's see. Let's go lower time frame here. Okay, so yeah, how you want to do this again is you want to bid ask this soul side only. I wouldn't necessarily buy the token, soul side only, so that your liquidity is laddering in as this pulls back. And then as it ranges down through here, it's going to obviously maybe capitulate, then bounce, capitulate, bounce, etc. Maybe it goes higher. That scenario is where you make good money delimbing. Oh, sorry, I'm showing the wrong. Sorry, guys. This is what you want to do. Down, breaks down. Likely this is going lower here. And then you can have it range into your liquidity, and your liquidity ladders up. So I do like a spot bid ask strategy, which means you do a layer of spot, later bid ask. Let me check the TVL on this, or fee TVL rate on this. So this has a 2% pool, 75K TVL. All right, 4% 24-hour to TVL. Not bad. Not bad. Again, if I'm building a position here, I would probably do a layer spot. Do something like that. Maybe soul side only. And then see if this kind of retraces back in here. And then you could probably do soul side spot only, or you could do bid ask and that'll shape your liquidity. Let me see if this gives me, yeah. So again, if you're new to delimbing, this is the shape of your liquidity. I wonder if I can flip it around so it looks more like the chart. Okay, that didn't do what I wanted it to do. So basically, as the price declines, so as you're going down in price, you're getting more and more fill. And then as it bounces back and down, you're trading the Kins token versus Sol token and then getting all that liquidity. World Cup coins right now, I thought there might be a bit of a bounce there, but not yet. Give it another week, in my opinion. Wait till next week. We got to get closer to the World Cup at this point. The early kind of like World Cup trading token thing is kind of done for now, in my opinion. Not too sure if it would hold this market though. It feels Habbo Hotel RuneScape-ish. I want to say Kins was run by that guy on Bags that we actually had on the show. Let me see if I can find if that's true. Who's the dev? Anyone know the X of the dev behind this? Who's running this? Stop being poor. Yeah, well, Alan, I think your platform made people a little bit poor based on the win rates of meme coins deployed. Who's the dev here, guys? I don't know if I know. All right, here, let's check where this account is based. Okay, Canada. Yeah. Tough. Who's it following? Pump. Yeah, not even following the founder. Okay. Is this a non-dev? I think this is a pass. You could delimit. Again, the only time you lose on this is if it rugs and it just goes straight down. It goes right through your liquidity and you're holding a bunch of the tokens. So unless the dev is reputable in some way, I would definitely probably pass on this one. I think there's better trades out there. I'm not playing the game, so I also don't know if the game's taking off. That's another thing. But again, you're buying this at 1.6 right now. Like, don't know if I like this at 1.6. What's this? Aliens. Oh yeah, okay. Again, delimbing, especially with meme coins. Okay, I've seen this. Oh shit. Okay. Yeah, so I was almost delimbing this. Would it rip to 600? So this right here, I was looking at this 2 nights ago. And this is gone. This is an OG meme. But yeah, sorry, chill. We can definitely wrap. But this actually has really good volume here. I might delimb this actually. A meme, again, this was deployed. So guys, this was deployed. We're gonna wrap stream here in a minute. This was deployed a long time ago. Okay, maybe someone bought up a bunch of supply because it went 70K, but there's really good volume. You know, sometimes there's a little bit of narrative in dog coins. There is a big holder. I don't like this cluster, 6%, but if people know who this is, maybe it's like a diehard person. Sometimes that's what you need is some, you know, supply control with these people who hold their bag for a long time. But I might actually trade this on a delim, this Mikawa Inu thing. Again, I don't care about the meme. I just care that it'll go down into my range and it will range there and I can print fees. All right. Really quick, we'll finish up some here and then we're gonna. I know Repo. I'll let Chill take that one. Bean on base is a look, or on Solana. Bean, man, I've owned Bean. I know Low Cap Hunter is big on Bean. Let's check in. I mean, not bad, but I don't know. I think I've already owned this and traded. I wouldn't go back to it. I'm more interested in the Solana one. I think the ore is high, but I think zinc is actually really interesting. I know the team ZKFG or something was another MetaDAO project, and this is kind of like a pivot for them. So take that for what it's worth. But where's the zinc? Where's the zinc? Zinc. This one right here, 3 days ago. I would rather own maybe this at a mill because I feel like this is like the same thing with these kind of like Ponzi games is they usually get a super spike and then die off, right? And Zinc's kind of had a little bit of a spike, but it, you know, still getting, you know, discovered. The data, the new, like the metrics seem actually quite strong. Like again, so context, this is what Bean did, right? For the first little bit of its life. Kind of ranged. If I were to go back, kind of ranged in here, right? This is where Zinc could be now. And again, I'm not saying they're all going to follow this playbook, but you know, you get that range and then people are like, oh my goodness, people are making money on this thing. And then, you know, it has a big narrative push. The problem is these, what we call creative finance type experiments have really been kind of played out. You know, it's not a new narrative. So maybe there's something there, but yeah, Hawks, go delim, learn how to do it. The best way to do it is just go to Meteora's platform, put like 1 or 2 SOL in and try it out. Most positive either way trade. If you start doing well, please. Our sponsor always loves to hear that, you know, people are using their product that they saw in MCGs. Just tag Meteor, be like, hey, I saw a delimbing on MCG and I'm trying it out. That would like really help us out massively. And then just tag the MCG account. We would appreciate that. But yeah, chill. If you want to do a last little repo check-in, then we can tire off there.
Definitely. Let me dude, I literally can't open up like CoinGecko or anything. Like it just completely crashes my thing. All right. So basically Repo recently came out with some news here. And let me add my screen. Here we go. So here's the news that came out of Repo this week. And I'll also just kind of maximize my screen so you guys can actually see it. There we go. Grind continues. This week, Repo shipped the foundation, max locked an additional 2 million tokens that was obtained during the TGE. 350 million votes and counting, over 27 million votes exchanged in just this week alone. 44K emissions up for grabs per epoch. I remember when they were just at like, 3-4 million votes. Here's where you guys had the question. We've migrated from Uniswap V2 to baseline markets, upgrading our liquidity and moving our on-chain infra to a new era. Tune into X Spaces with RG, Virtuals, and the baseline team. Oh, Virtuals as well. Wow. Next week to hear the full breakdown of what this means for the protocol. Link dropping from the Repo account soon. They had a few other smaller updates. So let's look into this baseline. DEX with token owned liquidity, permissionless launch coming soon. There's not much here for me to go on. First time ever, Live Token is migrating its liquidity to baseline DEX. The most traded token on Virtuals is making the move. Let's see. Okay, wow. Here's some info for you guys. This is the move that makes every other DEX setup look like burning money, paying LPs, bribing voters, cutting deals with the market makers. All of that is just overhead for a problem that shouldn't exist in the first place. The numbers speak for themselves. Apparently, this is the numbers baseline DEX gives you: 355% more fees, 64% deeper liquidity, and 38% tighter supply. That's not marginal improvement. That's a structural advantage that compounds over time. Repo making this migration as a live token with real volume is a proof of concept that the whole space needed to see. When a project this active demonstrates what protocol-owned liquidity actually looks like in practice, it changes the calculus for every team. Staking rewards from every trade, 0% borrow, and no liquidation risk holders go from passengers to participants. That's the alignment most tokenomics white papers promise and never deliver. Oh, look at that. Ika, friend of the show.
I
wow.
want to see if we can get Ika on, actually. Aska, respond to that tweet, be like, hey, we're looking at Repo right now live on MCG. Wanna hop on sometime?
Covering this tweet live on MCG. Would love to get you on to talk more about this and how you are looking at the market.
Boom.
Live little BD efforts
little
here.
BD effort in the replies.
This is he said he's been bullish on this since 2024. I don't hold any B right now, so no back to push. Real project and with traction, migrating to baseline is such a W for all parties involved, projects and holders. Okay, so I guess it's a DEX that, okay, RG has something to say on this. A lot of people are asking what baseline actually changes for Repo. The simple answer: you don't need to rebuy, stake, unstake, or move anything. Baseline is not asking holders to become LPs. It makes the token itself manage its own liquidity. That is the key difference. In a standard token pool, liquidity usually works like this. A team or LPs put two assets into a pool, like the token and ETH. They create a market where people can use that market to buy or sell. The downside is that the LP is exposed to impermanent loss. If the token price moves a lot, the LP's position gets rebalanced by the market. They can end up with less of the asset that performed better. But Baseline separates two things that are usually bundled together: providing liquidity and being a holder or a staker. On Uniswap V2, if you want to earn LP fees, you usually provide liquidity directly. That means you deposit both sides of the pair and take the risk of impermanent loss. On Baseline, the token protocol owns and manages the liquidity, while holders can simply hold or stake the token. Interesting. So the holder is not holding a 50-50 LP position. They're not personally deposited token plus ETH into the pool. This is why staking has no traditional impermanent loss. It does not mean risk disappears. It means the risk is moved. Instead of individual holders carrying LP risk, the protocol's liquidity system carries the responsibility of managing the market, reserves, floor, fees, and token mechanics. For repo, Baseline makes liquidity more sustainable, reduce the need for external mercenary LPs, give holders a cleaner staking experience, and route more value through the token ecosystem. That's crazy. Okay, so I guess summary on Baseline is just a new way of managing liquidity. Everything is managed in-house through the protocol or its own token, right? Like it's not, you don't have to go in and split your token half and half with the quote asset and SOL or quote asset and ETH in this instance. Basically, you just stake a little bit, stake your tokens, and you don't have to do anything additional. We saw also a moment ago that obviously, as far as fees go, this outperforms the amount of fees that you generate. It makes the liquidity deeper, and it makes the supply tighter because obviously more tokens will be staked. So I think I still need a little bit more clarity on this as far as like how they're facilitating, like, okay, what does the protocol management system look like from an under the hood perspective versus just trying to like explain it away. I'd love to see how that looks. But yeah, looking good here for Baseline so far. It seems like this is a pretty solid protocol. Cool. And I guess it unlocks new utility for the token. Like you can now stake the token to earn more of the fees, right? So I think that's also a pretty meaningful without creating any additional hurdles for holders. So pretty good system that they have. I'm interested. I'm probably going to look into their docs and read a little bit more. But guys, look, it's 3.5 hours into stream. I think we're gonna shut her off there. Up we go. I just want to say I'm getting a call. Before we go, let me just say this. You want to go to not chill TRD, just the way that I get to MCG Live. Go to @MCG Live on Twitter. Right, hit the follow button. We're going to be posting next week's schedule. Dang, look at that. 10.2K followers. Sitting pretty. We're sitting pretty here, guys. Appreciate you guys. But if you enjoyed today's stream, go to @MCG Live, click follow. Go to @MCG Alpha, also click follow. You'll be able to keep up with all things MCG. We'll be posting the schedule, clips from today's stream, from clips from this week's interviews, etc. We'll also post even more clips as well elsewhere. So definitely want to give us a follow there to keep up with everything that we're doing. Additionally, Top Fumbler, you're right. It's time to get working on this Discord. I'm actually going to be getting things up and running. And then if you are here with us on Monday, joining us live on stream, then you'll be able to get access to that Discord, right? It will only be available to you on stream. I'm going to try to figure out a way, like if it's a QR code or if it's like a maybe a link you type in or a link that you send, or I don't really know how this is going to go yet. But I'll figure it out by Monday. So that way we can get all you guys, our core streaming audience, you guys that rocked with us for so long. Want you guys to, to be able to take advantage of this Discord. So really appreciate you guys for watching us, watching the stream today. Appreciate you guys for supporting the stream all week and basically ever since, MCG's been here. And yeah, with that said, we're signing off for the weekend. I'll see you on chain. And I'll see you on the timeline. And soon, I'll see you in the Discord. GG's.
See you guys.